whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse of shell.
The demons squeal in sheer delight. It's you they spy, so plump, so right.
For though the groove is hard to beat, yet still you stand with frozen feet. You try to run, you try to scream, but no more sun you'll ever see. For evil reaches from the crypt to crush you with its icy grip. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller. Can you dig it? Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse of shell.
The demons squeal in sheer delight. It's you they spy, so plump, so right.
For though the groove is hard to beat, yet still you stand with frozen feet. You try to run, you try to scream, but no more sun you'll ever see. For evil reaches from the crypt to crush you with its icy grip. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller. Can you dig it? Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse of shell.
The demons squeal in sheer delight. It's you they spy, so plump, so right.
For though the groove is hard to beat, yet still you stand with frozen feet. You try to run, you try to scream, but no more sun you'll ever see. For evil reaches from the crypt to crush you with its icy grip. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller. Can you dig it?
Can y'all hear anything? Is there any sound? Can anyone hear anything? Is your mic on, Carolyn? I can't hear you. I can hear you. I can see you're talking, but I can't hear you. We're having technical difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There it is. All right. All right. I can hear you. You can hear me. Boy, I don't know. It may be too dark. Light set like this. I love your moon in the background and your.
This actually stays up year round.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, let me check real quick. I'm checking to see if our other guest has made it. He's still having issues. He's having issues getting on. We're going to give him a few more minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to go and adjust the light. I want it to be dark for the ambiance, but then, but I don't want it to be so dark y'all can't see it. Yes, I know, right? Okay, hold on. It's going to be dark for a minute.
Oh my goodness. It's scary. Yeah.
I know there's a way to make this bright. Oh boy.
Were you looking at a ghost over there?
No, I'm looking for my kitty.
Uh-oh. Oh yeah, you wanted to bring your cat on there.
Yeah. Come here.
There it is.
Oh my God.
We're toning it down.
There we go. Tone it
How's
down.
that?
Woo.
Tone it down some more.
I see rings in my
See?
eyes.
He matches my room.
That's a black cat.
I know. Liliana has her black cat, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, welcome to one and all. We are so glad you're here. Can everyone see us and hear us? Chandler, I see you said there's an echo. Paul did look scary, didn't he? Didn't he? I'm so glad it's working now. We're just waiting for our other guest.
I don't know how to get him on here. He said probably send it to an email. Send him an email. technical difficulties. And I'm not much help in this one because
Yeah,
this is the first time I ever sat down and did this.
It should have. I don't know why it wouldn't have worked.
It should have worked. Oh, there's an echo. I wonder why.
Is there still an echo?
I bet you.
Yeah, it's because.
I bet you.
No echo now? Is there still an echo, Lily?
I think with me there is.
No, I don't hear an echo with you, honey.
Oh.
It's this.
It was that. Let's turn that off.
I'm trying to.
I don't want to go off. We had a Bluetooth speaker on without realizing it. So hi everybody. How's everybody doing? Can y'all hear us okay now? No echo now? Chandler, what do you think? Is there still an echo, hun?
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
It's still on Bluetooth. All right. Why do we always have to have issues? Nothing can ever go smoothly. Anytime you want to talk about
I
the
told you
supernatural,
it's me.
It's you, Lily. It's you.
I told you this.
We didn't
it's
even
me.
turn on our lights in the back. Well, it's all because of me because I decided I had to eat and I was starving. Let me
Girl,
turn on
I
our
didn't even
skeleton
eat.
in the
I'm
back.
hungry.
And disconnects. There we go.
Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Okay, now talk.
There, I want it like that. Okay, can you hear us now?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Hi, can you hear us now, everybody? Yes, it sounds great. Okay, Chandler, thank you so much. We're having issues with one of our guests. Paul, how do I, okay, we're going to have to go to email.
Go to email.
Okay, hold on just a minute. We've got to send an email out, guys, because the gentleman that's coming on his link didn't work
Don't go from there.
for whatever reason. Hold on. There it is. We'll be right back. We're just sending him an email real quick.
going in the rain today.
Okay. B-A-G.
Spooky fog.
That's funny. It's a good
Can
one.
y'all see it?
She said I was funny.
So they can see it even if we're not on the page. I'm so sorry, guys. We're getting this. Hold on. And I'm so slow at typing. I need somebody just to be at my secretary all the time. That is not right, Paul.
What do you
I
type?
I need yahoo.com.
Yahoo.
Yahoo! Oh my gosh.
I even wrote my notes down on my October is my favorite color.
Favorite
Journal.
color?
Yeah.
October's your favorite color?
Yeah,
you said
spooky
October-
season. That's
But
what it says.
You said favorite color. Did you mean to
Yeah.
say color?
White. Well, that's what it's on the thing.
Oh.
White is
Oh,
my
that's
favorite
so
color.
weird.
Yeah, we couldn't see that.
But
because
you know, I
Carrie
got
was-
reminded that white is not a color, that white is the absence of color. So
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Okay, Paul, I got to run and get my paper. Brett, bring me the paper off the table.
Okay, I'm not
Brett's
moving.
listening.
He's
Okay.
He's on delay though.
He's on delay. So let me get my paper and we'll be ready to go. We're waiting on our other
Something
guests.
just tapped me on my shoulder. Where's it at? Sit down. Sit down.
Of course it did. It's on the table over there where I usually sit.
sit.
The skeleton fell. Of course.
Oh,
the
I was like,
skeleton tapped you on the
What did you do?
shoulder.
I was like, holy crap! I already have stuff touching me over here.
Man.
How bad can we get on this, Carolyn?
Not much worse.
Not much worse than the radio.
We're gonna put the video back on. Paul, click on that.
click on
We're gonna stand by real quick.
right here.
We gotta fix this. Yeah.
Click on that.
Uh-oh. Click on that.
Click on this. Oh, this.
Darkness falls across
There we
the
go.
land.
Hey, we can hear and watch the video
Midnight
together
hour
while
is
we're waiting
close
for.
at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell.
The demons squeal in sheer delight. It's you they spy, so plump, so right. For though the groove is hard to beat, yet still you stand with frozen feet. You try to run, you try to scream, but no more sun you'll ever see. For evil reaches from the crypt to crush you in
Right
its
here, I got it.
icy grip. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.
I don't know.
Can you dig it?
What's the status, guys?
Oh, there it is. There it is. Right there.
Okay, everything came undone for some reason. Give us a few seconds.
Coming undone.
We won't have a big skull in the background. Lily, what did you do? I'm just kidding. I think it was me.
I told you it was me. I don't know what it is, but
Well, she said
things
something
always
about
go wrong
reading
when
a-
I'm around. You gonna say hi to everybody? Gotta match all the things. So how was y'all's day? We'll have a conversation.
My day was good. And I'm trying to get the skull up here. This is so weird.
Okay,
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Cause it tapped you? Cause it tapped you.
just let it hang there. Well, folks, it was a very scary backdrop. And now it is a very messed up back, but it's just black. That's even better.
It's all right. That looks creepy hanging upside down like that. That's good.
Yeah,
It's
just leave
fine.
it like
Just leave
that.
it. Yeah.
Paul's got a. Let me see if our other guest was able to make it on. For some reason, he's having issues too. You need to send me
Maybe.
an email.
Because you have this looped in?
I doubt it, but
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know anything about the software.
I don't know. I wouldn't think that would.
That's right, because he should be able to just jump.
Yeah, you would think. He should be right here where Lily is. Well, it's okay. It's okay. We still have Liliana here, thank goodness, and we have Paul here. Paul, you're way faster at texting. Will you tell him we sent it to your email? See if he's able to get it, please. And hopefully he's on a laptop. So, folks, all of our guests, except for Paul that's here right now, thank goodness he is, are on virtually. And, of course, last time we didn't have any issues, you just never know. There's always something that's going to happen. So before we start tonight, we had one of our new viewers and new friends that watches us normally. We don't have incidences like this. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you. She sent in a story. I want to read it to you real quick because she saw that we were going to be doing the show about the paranormal. So she said the same thing happened. She had an interesting occurrence. Her name is Lupita. She said she worked in Corpus for a whole year. She drove from Beeville to Corpus. She left at dawn, and it was still dark out. On 181, past the Refugio exit, Refugio.
Refugio.
Here we go through that again. I was on the feeder road, and I saw a lady in a white gown. I freaked out and called 911. I thought it was the lady that had probably gotten out of a nursing home or something. I didn't know who she was. She said, but later she realized it was a ghost because there was like a smoke around her building. And she said it was very, very scary. Lupita, are you on here with us right now? If you are, say something on the messenger so I can say hello to you.
That is creepy.
Yeah, it really is. So that was, to me, that would be. Oh, hi, Baltimore. He's here. Okay, let me get him on. Okay, good. So that's our private chat. Sorry, folks. So we do have our expert online, Baltimore. I'm so glad you made it. Thank goodness. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on right now. Here we go. Ooh, it's really dark on yours too. Hi, how are you, Baltimore?
Doing good. I'm actually talking in my truck.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Sometimes it'll work. Hi, Lupita. Thank you for joining us. Sometimes it'll work from your phone or your laptop. Sometimes it does. There, now we see you. Thank you so much. Can everybody see all three of our? Okay, all three of them. Great. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry about the issues. So with us tonight, it's Baltimore, right? Is that how you say your name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. I wanted to make sure. And no offense to you at all, sir, but that sounds like a spooky story to me, your name. It's such a cool name. I love it. And then we have Miss Liliana over here to my right, your left, maybe, I don't know. And I have Paul here with me as well. We are expecting one more participant, but I'm not sure if they have come on. So I see we have Lupita on here. Lupita, I just told her story about seeing the lady in white. Did I do that story justice, Lupita? Was there something else I needed to add? You can always message me if you'd like on my messenger.
Shall I repeat the story?
Yes, repeat it. Yes, Paul, say it in a spooky way.
I'm going to say it in a
And part of it got
spooky
cut
way.
off. Paul's going to say it in a spooky way. And just stand by, guys.
I worked in Corpus for a whole year. And I drove from Beeville to Corpus Christi. I left at dawn. It was still dark out. On 181, past the Refugio exit going to Corpus Christi, I was on the feeder road and saw a lady with a white gown on. Smoke bellowed out from under her and all around her. I freaked out and called 911, thinking that it was a lady that had probably escaped from the nursing home. I say escaped, I don't know. But she didn't know who it was. And then she later realized it had to be a ghost. Of course it was a ghost if it was bellowing smoke out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so apparently Paul wants to do his scary voice.
No, that's good. That's good for this show.
I know, I love it. I love it. I want to take a moment, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce our the way he's looking. He's probably like, oh my God.
What did I get myself into?
Our young man by the name of Baltimore Galvan is our special guest, another special guest tonight. Welcome to the show, Baltimore.
Thank you very much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm so sorry about the technical issues.
That's okay.
So, folks, I saw Baltimore was on Facebook because he does the Bigfoot research in B County and all surrounding areas. And, of course, that caught my eye right away because, you know, Bigfoot is an unexplained phenomenon. I cannot say that word.
Phenomenon.
As well. But I found out when I called him to see if he'd be interested in joining us that you also do paranormal investigations. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's
yes,
awesome.
I do.
I've only done a couple, and I'm a big chicken. We were discussing that earlier, weren't we, Lily? How big of a chicken I am. I want to do all this stuff, but I'm chicken. So, what I'd like to do, Baltimore, I know you've done some investigations besides just around this area. So, what I'd like to do, I'm going to go with the ladies first, I think is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let Liliana tell us a little bit of one of her stories. Things that she's had happen. Now, folks, remember, this is an interactive show. If you'd like to tell us something real quickly in the chat, something that you experienced, please let us know. I'll read it out, or maybe you can come on the show and come with us. Okay, so whenever you're ready, Liliana, let's give you a few minutes to tell one of your occurrences. A true story, by the way. These are all true stories.
These are true stories. So, growing up, there was one point in time where my mom has 7 kids. We all lived in like a 2-bedroom apartment one time, and we used to see and hear stuff all the time. And it wasn't even like, it's really hard to explain, but you could just feel kind of like the energy in the house. And there was one situation where my little brother, because of how crowded we were in that house, my little brother used to have his bed in the living room. Well, one time, my stepdad was walking out of the bathroom, and my little brother walked in, and my stepdad, sometimes he has a hard time like going back to sleep after he wakes up. So he was going to the living room to watch some TV. He's like, well, the little kid, he's already up. He's like, my stepson's already up, so I'll just go watch TV or whatever. In the living room, when he got to the living room, my little brother was literally still in his bed. And he's like, I touched his head and everything. And we would see stuff like that all the time. And we've had interactions where I would feel like my hair would get pulled in that house all the time. I also, at the time, had a friend that lived in the closet. To me, he lived in the closet. His name was Charlie. I remember him like an actual person. And I would just see him sometimes. It was so weird. And I mean, I've had people tell me like that he never existed. Like he was never there. No one else could see him. But to me, he was very, very, very real.
Wow. Well, Baltimore, let me
Insane.
ask you, have you had other people with similar experiences, maybe where their children are seeing things that no one else is?
I had a few, and some of them turned out to be relatives that passed away, and they
Right.
come up there and just check on them. Little situations like that.
Wow, that's got to be really scary, Liliana. But as a kid,
Yeah.
my grandson actually, he had a twin. My daughter was pregnant with twins, and she lost one of them. Well, ever since he could talk, he has been talking about his best friend Spencer, and he would go up into his room and look in this old mirror, and that's what he would say, my best friend Spencer. And we would correct him and say, no, you're Spencer. But later we started thinking about it. What if he's actually seeing his twin? You never
Yeah.
know. You know what I mean? Because they would look alike.
Could
But
be.
he would
Yeah,
be
it could
mad
be.
when we correct him. We'd say, no, you're Spencer. He goes, no, not me, my best friend Spencer. So it still freaks me out thinking about it, because he would, now he doesn't do it, but he sure did a lot. Remember, I told y'all about that.
Yeah, well, I think one of my most recent I guess experiences is not that one that I saw, but I had asked myself. I always have a feeling like I'm being followed, or I certain times I feel like the energies get stronger around me. One
Right.
time I asked my son. He was 4 years old at the time. I asked him. I said, "Do you ever see anybody like with mommy?" And he looks up behind me, and I got chills. I was like, Lord, help me. And he was like, yeah, she kind of looks like you, but her hair is different. And I was like,
Oh,
that's a little strange. And then I asked him, is there anybody else? And he's like, looks next to me, like shorter, like on his level. And he's like, yeah, but he kind of looks like Santi, which is my middle child, and he was a twin. I had vanishing twin syndrome with him, so he would have been a twin. But he literally looked over, and he's like, yeah, he looks just like him, literally, like he looks just like him. I was like, wow, this is
wow. Well, you
interesting.
never know. You never know. That's for sure. Wow,
Yeah.
that's scary. I mean, but I can see how that would, as a kid, you think it's real. You're not going to tell a kid any different.
Well, what I
They
didn't tell
all
my
these imaginary
son,
friends are really ghosts that these kids are seeing. It's
what I
possible, right,
hadn't
Carol?
told my son is that I had someone tell me recently that I had two like spirit guides, and one was a child and one was a it she said, I think it's like one of your great grandmothers, because like it just seems like familiar to you. And I
Wow.
never told my son any of that. So for him to describe two people that match what that lady said to me was insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
absolutely. That is really freaky. Well, they say kids can see things that adults can't all the
Yeah,
time, and I
for
believe
Exactly.
sure.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe that. So let me go over to let me go to Baltimore. Baltimore. So in your years of investigating, or in your many investigations, do you have a particular one that sticks out that you'd like to share a little bit of with us tonight?
Oh, my favorite has to be there's the Lighthouse in Duncan, New York, and actually they actually made a movie inside that lighthouse. It's called Widow's Peak,
I've heard
and
of that.
yeah, it's called Widow's Peak, and that's the name of the movie.
Okay.
So we used to my fiance and I, we would always investigate it in there. Uh, we had some friends of ours that always did investigations there. So this one particular night, we had their ghost hunting team there. And then I have this sixth sense. I have this sense where I could actually sense if there's ghosts in a certain area. I could hear certain things.
Right.
It's stuff that people can't hear. I just call it my gift. And so I was walking around with my K2, and inside the lighthouse there was actually a lower dome, a lower dome. So there was a little door there, and I heard little kids playing in there. And
Oh.
there was I asked Dave, "Hey Dave, do you mind if I look in here and see what I find in here? For some reason I hear little kids playing in here." And he comes up, he goes, "That door hasn't been opened up for years." And it was a small little door.
Wow.
And sure enough, and I'm a big kid at heart.
Yeah.
And so I bought this rubber ball at like little in the little machines for 75 cents, and I stuck it in my front pocket. And so as I'm cleaning this dumb, and I found all this stuff in there and everything, parts of the lighthouse and everything, and the ball was bothering my leg. And then I pulled that out of my pocket, and I felt somebody behind me. So I thought it was my fiance, right? So I said, "Baby, would you mind holding on to my ball?" And all of a sudden, the ball gets lifted out of my hands, and all I heard was somebody say, "Thank you." And like around 10 minutes later,
Oh my God.
15 minutes later, my fiance comes around there and goes, "Man, look at all this mess you did down here." I said, "I know, I'm gonna get in trouble for it, but that's all right." He goes, "I'll clean it up later." And he goes, "Baby, let me have my ball back." She goes, "What ball?" He goes, "The one I gave to you." He goes, "I didn't give you no ball." He goes, "Yeah, somebody took the ball out of my hands a few minutes ago." He goes, "Wasn't me." And they went up there and talked to all the ghost hunters up there and everything like that, want to know if I gave them the ball. And then nobody had my ball. And so that next night, I mean, the next day, I was supposed to leave back here to Texas. And then I told, uh, no, I'm sorry, I was supposed to. I forgot what state I was living in at the time. And so I actually went back home and I told Dave, "Dave, if you find my ball, I want it back." He goes, "All right." So sure enough, the next day, so they looked for the ball and everything like that. Could not find the ball, and sure enough, they cleaned the mess right by the lower dome, by the door, and couldn't find the ball. And 3 days later, they found the ball right in front of the lower dome. Dave
Wow.
is the very first person inside that lighthouse and the very last one to leave.
Wow.
So sure enough, he gets that ball, and at the lighthouse they actually have this high chair, and in the high chair they had this doll, and on this doll, on the high chair they had a saucer and a cup, and there's a doll sitting there in the high chair, and the ball is actually placed in that cup. So the next day, Dave he had visitors, and he was going to show the lighthouse to people, right? And they were doing their little tour, and then for some reason that ball came out of that cup, went around the corner, and actually hit him in the foot. And
Wow.
so this ball has been seen everywhere in this lighthouse, the top floor, bottom floor, basement, has been going everywhere. And then all of a sudden, for 1 year, this ball stayed dormant. And then that July, I was coming back to the lighthouse. Maybe I was going to do another investigation there. Me and my own, and my fiance and a friend of ours. And sure enough, even though the ball stayed dormant for a year, so Dave comes up there and says, "Hey, Baldy's coming back." And the very next day, the ball started moving around the lighthouse.
Aw, that's
Wow.
So
sweet.
now, when I got there, uh, I got to give you all a secret about ghost hunting. People normally have one. They normally have their recording machine. What I do is I actually have two microphones, and I put them on either side of the room, and like that, everything gets recorded on one machine. So I came up there and I've actually separated these two things, and I started asking questions to the, because I knew real well that there were little kids in the lighthouse, ghostly kids in the lighthouse. And I started asking them questions. Is anybody here same questions that every ghost hunter asks? And then all of a sudden, for some reason, my voice started to change like I was in a tunnel. And then here comes this little girl comes up and says, "Is this what you want?" And all of a sudden you hear like a conversation going on. And then all of a sudden you hear this little boy screaming to his dad, "Hey dad, look, an angel." And then all of a sudden the little girl comes back, and she comes up there and she goes, "You have to listen to the animals." And all of a sudden you hear like a flock of seagulls flying overhead. And it was just what it sounded like. And then all of a sudden the thing stopped.
Wow. So you said it sounded like you were in a tunnel. That really caught my attention too, because on one of the stories I'm going to tell, I've got a similar experience. Wow, that's really crazy, man. That would have been cool to witness that.
There's a lot of theories that's going on about ghosts and what's actually happening.
Right.
And I guess one of, like you said, the tunnel, it's almost like an alternate dimension. They kind of just crossed parallel dimensions.
Yeah.
And that's where the ghosts are coming from.
That's what I've heard.
It's ghosts. It's actually people from another dimension that you're seeing, and they're seeing you.
Yeah, I don't know.
So is it that when we pass, we go to like a different dimension?
That's what I think. Well, I've heard from a lot of people that it's just a thin veil between us and where they are.
And they can see us and we can see them.
Yeah.
But we look like ghosts to them, and then they look like ghosts to us.
I don't know. It's really interesting.
I don't know. That's just a little theory that goes on behind the scenes on some of these.
On some of the shows.
Some of the just a little ideas and stuff.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And a while ago, you said you're K2, and everybody around here probably like K2. He's over there smoking K2.
I knew what that was because I watch a lot of the shows too. Yeah,
but I don't know if everybody else knows that. So
tell them. Go ahead.
Can you describe what a K2 meter is?
It's actually a meter. It has like green, yellow, and red little lights, and then when there's something close by, and then so it produces like electricity, and then all of a sudden it goes to green or yellow, or something. If there's something there, it was surely brought up go up real super red. And anytime when you ask certain questions, everything like that, that's the way that they actually respond. So. Yeah, I did a lot of investigations also in Gettysburg. Gettysburg was an awesome place to investigate. So that's one.
Oh, that's cool. We'd love to hear about that.
I would love to go to Gettysburg.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Because there are so many photographs that have been caught.
I know. I just saw one the other day.
Soldiers. It's crazy.
Where they showed it looked like they were walking up a hill, but there was no hill there. It was all sky. So that was pretty cool.
That's one of the things I'd love to do. Just to go ghost hunting or just to go see the history there.
I know. Brett, we would love to
I think that with paranormal, like a lot of it does have to do with history. I mean, if it wasn't for the history, we wouldn't have these experiences. I mean, that still throws me off for my son to not have known that I got told that my great grandmother was like one of my spirit guides, and for him to be like, "Oh, she looks just like you, just with different hair."
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Crazy.
Because out of the mouth of babes, they say. So, Paul, you have, we're going to get back and let everybody talk a lot more about their stories. I just want to give everybody a chance, kind of go in rounds. So, Paul, go ahead and give them one of your experiences.
You want normal? You want scary? Or you want super? Let's start at the bottom.
Okay, whatever you think.
Okay, let's just start at the bottom.
Okay. This is bottom, so this is scary.
No, this is scary. I mean, it's kind of creepy. So my first wife, when we got married, I was sleeping over at her house because we're living with her parents. So I was getting ready to join the military, and she would always talk about this ghost that she named George, and always talked about this thing. And in high school, I believed in ghosts. I never really saw ghosts. I had paranormal experiences, but she basically, we got into an argument that night, and she got up from the bed, walked out, went to the bathroom, came back, door opened, and then it shut. Because in the old trailer houses, if they're not level, the door basically shuts by itself.
Yes.
I look over, I see a shadow. It's her standing there. And I'm talking to this shadow person, basically saying, "Hey, we got into arguments, fine, get back in bed." No response. I'm like, hey, it's okay. We'll deal with it in the morning. Get back in bed. Nothing. So what did I do? I reach over and grab a pillow. I then take the pillow and swoof, it went right through the center of the shadow person, and it scared the bejesus out of
Oh my
me. I
gosh.
jumped up, turned the light on, ran in the kitchen where she is standing, and I picked her up. It was like, holy crap, I just saw a ghost. That was my very first ghost I'd actually ever
Whoa.
physically seen.
Wow.
And I guess you could say physically touched, because I literally, I was trying to abuse the ghost.
Wow, that had to have been really scary.
Yeah, that was a scary moment.
So I keep seeing things about shadow figures on
Yeah.
these shows. What
Oh,
about
yeah.
you, Baltimore? Have you had a lot of experience with shadow figures?
Shadow figures, God.
I mean, in your investigations, I know I
Um,
keep seeing them on the shows that we watch. You know, where they get the videos, shadow people or whatever they're called. I mean, it's pretty weird. You'll see them look around the corner. Ugh.
Yeah, you know, from again, it's like when I do with the paranormal stuff, there's sometimes I talk about it, and there's sometimes I don't, and there's sometimes I keep private. But there have been situations where I've actually seen like ghosts in my actually in my bedroom. I've seen like Native American because I'm actually Native American Indian, and then I would actually see Native American Indians actually in my room, and when I would get sick, I'll tell you like this, one day I got sick, and so the next thing I see is like this. I want to describe it as a medicine man, and he actually had a shell in his hand, and there was liquid in that shell, and he actually put his hand right in back of my head, lifted my head up, and actually gave me something to drink. And then the next morning, I was fine. And so to this day, the doctors are always saying, I don't, so you should have been a lot worse. And I said, nope, it was perfect. I was perfect. And so all they just told me was just keep on doing what I was doing. And I kind of felt like the ancestors actually came to me in my sleep or whatever it was, just to cure me that day. But again, I would see like Indians in my room. I would see people sometimes watching me sleep. And then so I know very well that those are basically my ancestors watching over me. So
Right.
shadow people, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, seeing as that you are Native American, I can understand your connection then with Bigfoot and all of the paranormal, because I know my sister and brother-in-law. I have Native American in me as well, not as much as you, obviously, but my brother-in-law was, and they said you can talk to any Native American especially about Bigfoot, and they'll tell you that they believe, at least what he told me, is that they believe that they were shapeshifters and so forth. You know what I mean? And it was just really interesting. It's just really interesting. So I'm sure you do have you're more connected to that type of thing as well, because of your ancestors, because of your bloodline. And I think it's really cool. I can see why you're following in that path to try to pursue and document those things. That's pretty amazing, I think. That's
yes,
really,
ma'am.
really cool. Wow.
It's dealing with. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's dealing with because again, I could go into the woods, and I work with scientists out here, and they try to find like different kinds of species and different kinds of butterflies that have been extinct.
Right.
They think that they're extinct, and so they call me up, just for me to help them out and to actually try to find certain things. And I found some stuff that's totally out of stuff that shouldn't be here. And sure enough, I actually find it here, and sure enough, they document it.
I don't doubt that at all. My sister, they lived out in Schulenburg, Texas, and we would go to her house, and she absolutely. At first, I thought she was crazy, to be honest with you, but she absolutely had Bigfoot on her property, and she did.
Wow.
I saw it with my own eyes. I smelled it. We went hunting. We saw them. We heard them. It's really amazing. And Unfortunately, she passed away 2 years ago, but I wish she was alive right now. She would be right here with us telling you about all of the, not just Bigfoot, but they had all kinds of stuff out there on their property. They had
Wow.
everything you can imagine, honestly. We saw so many crazy things out there and heard so many and smelled so many amazing things. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I
yes,
know you
ma'am.
do because you've been doing your research. So I want to dedicate I would like to dedicate a whole show to the research of Bigfoot. That's what my husband recommended because he knows, he knows that it's, it's something that our family, is passionate about too, because he experienced it with me when we were out there in the woods by her house, because they live way out in the country, or they did,
Wow.
of course. So
I
yeah,
have a question for Baltimore when you're done, Carolyn.
yes, go ahead, Lily.
Well, my question is, do you feel like there are certain people that just naturally attract these things? Because I've heard people like talk about their paranormal experiences, or they'll be like, well, I've only had very few, or like I've never even seen anything. And then there's like people like us that we have experienced so many throughout our life.
Okay. See, there's sometimes I tell people like this. Sometimes, sometimes the gift could be a curse. Because the thing is, again, it's that you just never know when it's going to happen, when certain things going to happen to you, or stuff that you're going to see. It just happens when it happens.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I like making dream catchers, and I actually made a dream catcher for a family member, and we were actually staying basically in the same house, and sure enough, and then so she comes up and tells me, would you mind removing the dream catcher from my room? It's beautiful, but it really starting to freak me out. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, I've always seen all these ghosts around the bed, and the very first thing that they do is just look at that dream catcher, because I actually had a lock of my hair on. So I said, all right. So I went ahead and removed it, and I put it over my bed. And so she comes up, she goes, well, all the ghosts left minus one. And I said, all right. He goes, let's check if she comes to my room, and I'll go have a talk with her. And then sure enough, like a couple of nights later, my room, it felt like there was actually a cloud in there. The window was opened up, and you could see like the cloud going out of the room. And then all of a sudden, the cloud started forming itself to a ball. And then the ball started turning into this lady. You could tell she was from the Victorian age by the way she had her hair, and by the way she had an amulet, and actually on her neck. Very beautiful woman. And then so she looks at me. She must have been maybe like around 2 or 3 inches from my face. Puts her finger right by her lips and tells me, shh. I said, well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to leave because you're scaring my niece. And she nods her head, and the mist and that fog went out the window, and I went in and closed it.
Wow.
Whoa, that's crazy, right?
See, I just feel like everywhere I've gone, I feel like I have experiences like that everywhere I've lived. Like even in my house now, I was telling Carolyn earlier, I could feel the presence of like a man when I first moved in here, and I would hear things. I had a roommate once, if she's on, she can verify. We would hear like the chairs move, papers shuffle, even at my job. I hear things all the time where people would hear things when I was around, and it got to the point that I said out loud one day, like, I understand you may have lived here before, but my kids sleep up here, and they would tell me about a ghost, and I would tell them like, oh, it's nothing, go back to sleep. But I told them like I would be more comfortable like if you stay downstairs. You can stay here, but downstairs, not upstairs. And after that, I've never heard anything upstairs. My kids don't talk about it anymore, and the only time I've ever heard stuff is literally downstairs.
Wow. Maybe they listen to you.
Yeah, well, they do. A lot of times you have to be a little forceful.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't want to.
Right.
And tell them, hey, this is my house.
Yes.
Respect my house, and leave. I mean, it sounds
weird because it's like you're talking to yourself.
Right.
And
it sounds unreal.
Right.
But I've experienced this stuff. Baltimore's experience, Leanna's experience. I'm pretty sure that other people like this have experienced this. And some of the non-believers will actually look at you like you're crazy, and it doesn't bother me anymore. I tell my stories because that's just who I am. I love any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Paranormal, anything paranormal, I love. But yeah, but you got to be forceful with the spirits and tell them, hey, look, back off. And majority of the time, they will. They'll respect your space. As long as you respect them, they respect you, and it's
Right.
just like an animal in the wild. You respect
Yeah.
you, you respect you.
Well, think of it as if, they're just, if they literally are just like you and I, you know what I mean? If they're just in another dimension, which I believe they just basically moved off. That's literally what it feels
Yeah.
like, because I've lost a lot of family members. That's what I always tell myself. They're just living over there and I'm living here. It's just like if you tell them, hey, you're making me feel uncomfortable, especially if it's a family member, they're going to be like, okay, well, I'll go. I've got a real quick, Chandler, are you, did you get my response to your message, sir? I'm trying to make sure the chat is working. Chandler, what I was going to say is if you'd like to share your experience on here, feel free to type it up and I'll share it with everybody. Completely up to you. I'm not sure if Chandler is, let's see. Is Chandler on your Facebook, Lily? Chandler Johnston.
Let me see. 1 second.
It's okay. Again, if anyone has any experiences they'd like to share, please let us know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'll share. I didn't get the message though. Okay, Chandler, I'm sorry. I think you're watching from YouTube. Now you're on Facebook. I'm not sure if that's right. Chandler, go ahead and share it if you'd. I don't have you on Facebook Messenger, so I can't bring you on. But go ahead and type it up if you'd like, unless you want to come on the screen with us.
Or-
We'll definitely let you do that.
If you want to send me the message, I can read it out loud too.
Yeah, either way you want to do it, Chandler.
You've got to do it in your
Yes,
spook.
Yeah.
you've got to do
Oh
it.
no, another thing too about the ghost, the person I have living in my house. One time I was gone for like 2 weeks into Washington State. I had cleaned my house, left. I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And I have a bathroom like right in front, like right next to my front door. So I literally got in, I threw everything, went to the bathroom. As soon as I get there, I hear my like pots and pans in the kitchen fall out of the cabinet. I felt like it was kind of like a welcome home.
Or they were in there cooking a
But it
dinner
was-
and you interrupted them.
No kidding. But I just thought I thought that was really interesting because the way that I felt it, like the way that I took it was kind of like I missed you. Welcome home. It was pretty
Oh,
it was
wow,
pretty
that's
weird.
That's pretty cool. So so Chandler, go ahead and type it up however you'd like to do it. Send it to Liliana's on Messenger, or you can send it to my Facebook Messenger, whichever you'd like to do, honey.
Yeah, he's sending it to me right now.
Okay, good.
So I'll read it.
And,
I'll read it out when he sends it.
Okay, and while she's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and share a little bit of. Oh, go ahead.
Oh
Paul.
no, I was just gonna ask Baltimore about the Bigfoot in the B County area. I heard there was some Bigfoot encounters going on around this area.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's plenty of them.
I
Like
believe.
I'll give you an example. I did do some. I do a lot of research and stuff like that around here, around B County, and basically the surrounding areas. And I get contacted by a lot of people. And there's sometimes I get criticized by a lot of people. And there's sometimes it's like ghost hunting or the ghost investigation. Sometimes you can take the good with the bad. And so that's the way I take it. I take everything with a grain of salt.
That's good.
And then down out here, what Bigfoot does out here, when he's in the area that he feels very comfortable with, he will actually twist trees
Yes.
and actually use them as markers. So I had a phone call last week, and they actually found some certain footprints on a property. And then so I went to the property next to it, hopefully for at least for me to see something on there. And then so sure enough, but the footprints were the opposite side of the fence. So I contacted the neighbor next door, and checked if I could have permission to go. And but he did not give me permission to go. So that was kind of heartbreaking. But when I looked around the area, sure enough, I found the twist on the trees, confirming that those tracks that were there, that creature actually made that. So what I did was I actually started researching the area, and I actually started calling around. And so here we have a lot of hogs down here, and they've really been tearing up a lot of land down here. So sometimes they would shoot them and just leave them there. So that's what these people would do. So Lord and behold, there would be situations where they would actually shoot the animal, and then come back the next day, and the animal is gone. So that's what I know what's going on. That they're actually, well, that's how Bigfoot actually gets their free meal. But I
Right.
actually, but I actually encountered mine, like 2013, and I actually saw him down in Sendero, and he was just standing right in the middle of the Sendero, the tall, maybe like around 8, 9 feet, solid black,
Wow.
just standing there. And Lord and behold, I started talking to some old timers, and man, and I had a little Bigfoot meeting, and then they started telling me all these stories that happens to them and their family. And the oldest stories that I got so far was 1924. That's the oldest encounter.
19 what?
22.
Wow.
1924.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a long
yeah.
time.
I could talk a little bit more about that, but I know that we're talking about paranormal stuff.
Wow, it's so interesting to me. The whole thing is interesting
Yeah,
to me.
and
And because we did a lot of research with my sister's property, and literally research. They had all the stuff too, you know what I mean? And what I heard that night at her house, and what I saw with my own eyes, and what I smelled, nobody can tell me that they're not real, because I did not believe it, and now I am an absolute believer. It's just like any other
and
animal.
it's funny how you start off as questioning stuff. Right?
Yes.
And whenever you have your first experience, like Baltimore, he said he actually saw this creature,
Yes.
and he knew what it was. I mean, he looked at it, he saw it, he could physically see it. Now, of course, no one's probably, there's going to be a bunch of, it was probably
Yeah.
whatever, but to him, he saw it.
Yeah.
That is a life-changing
It changes you.
event.
Yeah.
It
Well,
changes your
let me tell you another life-changing event about this creature that if you don't mind, I'm going to talk a little bit about it.
No, go ahead. I can talk about this all night, but I know we're talking about other stuff.
Okay, now check this out. I love taking photographs. I love taking photographs of butterflies. I mean, anything dealing with wildlife, I take a photo of it. And I actually made this tree stand, and I actually put a chair on top of the tree, and actually nailed some boards around there and everything like that. And I started taking pictures of hogs, squirrels, and what I did was, I'm giving a little bit of my secret here. So I actually got some horse treats and corn and started scattering it all around the area. And then so I did this for over a couple of months. And then Lord and behold, I come back a certain day, and I started taking pictures of deer and javelinas and squirrels and everything like that particular day. So I got some real nice shots. So the next day, I come up there and sit on that tree, and lo and behold, no wildlife, no deer, no nothing, because they would always come out, but this time they didn't. And then all of a sudden, I started hearing a deep breathing sound down that creek, like maybe like around 100, 1,000 times louder, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, what in the world is that? And I kept on listening and kept on listening, and it got stronger and stronger. So what I did was I got down at the bottom of my tree stand, and I looked around there, and as soon as my feet hit the ground, no noise. So I said, oh man, that's just a freaking of your imagination. That's the very first thing that happened. That's the very first thing I said. So I climbed back on top of that tree, sat down there, and I sat down on that tree. And something came to my mind. He goes, how does it feel like something's hunting you? And I'm going, that's odd.
Yeah.
And then so I stayed there for a few seconds, and I said, man, I have no gun. Only thing I have is a camera. I'm going home. So I went home. 2 days later, I come back. My tree is knocked down.
Wow.
He didn't appreciate being up there.
So I got evicted from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, you got evicted because you were in his territory.
Exactly.
Wow.
So the thing is, this creature knows my sound. He knows when I come and leave because he knows the sound of my vehicle. He knows when I'm in the woods and everything. And
Yeah.
when I go hunting, he knows where I hunt, and he knows where when I field dress a deer, he knows where I leave be the spoils of the insides of the deer. So
Right,
you know, he's always watching, and close to my deer blind, born and behold, what I find close to my deer blind twist on the trees, and
yeah, and
knowing
they
where
can
what
they
he was there.
can they can disguise themselves so well in the foliage and the trees that they could be standing right next to you almost, and you wouldn't even know it. Um,
Exactly.
that because of the color of them, they are expert. Okay, he sent it to you, Lily. His
Yeah,
story,
I
honey.
got it.
Okay,
Okay, y'all ready for this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear this. This is from one of our viewers, Chandler. Chandler, thank you so much for telling us your story. I'm excited to hear it and scared. I'm so glad Paula's here with me. I'm a big chicken, y'all.
I don't think
act,
you are.
I act brave, but I'm really not. Okay, go ahead, go ahead, Lily.
So he said, so full disclosure, I grew up in Jefferson, Texas. For those that know, that town has been historically haunted. I
Hold on,
never,
before you go on. That is the first place my sister lived when she had her first spotting of Bigfoot,
wow,
Jefferson, Texas. Not even kidding. That's
wow.
so weird. Okay, go ahead. And a lot of weird stuff. Go ahead.
He said, I never really believed it until I experienced this. I was 17 years old, spending the night at my friend's house. We were in his bed with his two dogs. I fell asleep pretty quickly. The door to his room is pretty old, so it makes the weird squeaky noise when you open and shut it. It also has a deadbolt lock that you can clearly hear when it locks. After falling asleep, I heard the door open with a squeak and lock. I'm a light sleeper, so it woke me up pretty easily. It's pitch black because no lights were on. I see a tall figure standing at the door. My friend is tall, he's 6'4". So I just assumed it was him and he got up to use the bathroom or something. Well, the figure started walking towards me in the bed. He had wooden floors so you can hear people walk on it. But it sounded like stomping. It was walking very slowly towards me. I could hear each step. I thought it was him messing with me because honestly, that's something he would do. I said, bro, quit playing, and laughed at a bit. It kept getting closer. I said, dude, it's not funny. It kept getting closer until it was about 6 inches from my face. I leaned up off the bed to see his face, but it was just a tall, solid black figure. I then rubbed my eyes and said, dude, quit playing. As soon as I opened my eyes back up, it vanished. I looked over to the side of the bed, and my friend was right there sleeping. The dogs didn't bark. I got up to check the door, and it was locked. I didn't know what to think, so I just went back to sleep.
Whoa.
I don't think
Wow,
I would
Chandler.
be
That would have
sleepy.
scared me so bad. I can imagine being 17, especially as a male. I'm saying this to me, men, guys, you know, you always think, well, to me anyway, the male is always like, well, that can't be, I'm not scared of this. But you have to pretend, I just can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. Now, if it would have been me, I probably would have screamed. But I don't know, because I had something really similar to that, Chandler. That is God, that's scary. Ooh, I'm glad you shared that with us. We need to put all these together and write us a book is what we need to do, Paul. Listen to me. Paul is actually an author. That's why I'm telling him we need to write a story, a book with all of our true scary stories. Yeah. So
I'll do it.
Yeah. On one of mine, it was very similar. We were talking about this today when Lily came over. It's very similar to Lily's story. I was probably 8 or 9, and I had gone to sleep. I tried to go to sleep, and I could never sleep in that room. I had my twin sister that slept with me and our older sister on the other side of the room. Well, my mom and dad's bed, yeah, that sounds good, right, Chandler? My mom and dad's bed was kind of across in the next room, but there was a door, like a wall there, so you couldn't see their bed. But there was also a closet to the right. And it was right around Christmas time, and me being, maybe I was a little bit older than that. Maybe I was like 12. And all of a sudden, I see my mom get out of bed. Now, my mom, my whole life until my dad passed away years and years later, she always had real bad teeth. She needed to get dentures, right? So she never hardly smiled. She never would smile to show her teeth, for sure, because she was very, self-conscious of that. Well, I being a young kid in bed, not being able to sleep, I never could sleep in that house. It always felt like somebody was watching me. And I see my mom get out of bed, and she's standing in the doorway there by the closet, and I'm right across from her, like from here to my room. You can't see it, but it's right there. And I thought, what is she doing? And I noticed her gown was like flowing in the wind. She had a white gown on. I didn't think anything of it as a kid, but then I realized it was like blowing like blowing a little bit, like a little moving in the wind. And it looked just like my mom. And she turned and smiled at me, but it was a whole mouth smile. And it was just a sweet smile. And then she turned and went into the closet. And I
Wow.
thought, what is she doing in the closet? Well, I didn't think about it till the next day, but she never opened the door to the closet. She literally just went in the closet.
Went through the door?
Yeah, she went through the door. And of course, as a kid, I'm thinking, well, that can't be. She must have opened the door, you know. And no, but she didn't open the door. And I kept waiting for her to come out because I thought she was hiding Christmas presents in there, because I was at that age where I was like, I'm going to catch her. You know, this is all a big, you know. I kept waiting for her to come out, and she never came out. And I never told a soul about it until about 3 years later, when we were all outside on a summer night. My older sister was there, my twin sister, all of us were out there. And we were talking to some guys that worked on the railroad track right there. And they said, have y'all seen that crazy lady in the white gown running up and down the railroad tracks? Now, we lived so close to the railroad tracks, our house would shake. That's how close we lived to the tracks.
Oh, wow.
Like right there, you know, right down the hill. We were on a little hill.
Give you a
And
visual.
yeah, like that. Shake, 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 shake. And I just looked and thought, oh my God, that can't be, right? I like, he's got the headless skeleton over here. I said, that can't be. And I still didn't say anything, but my older sister said, you mean the lady in the white gown that kind of flows in the wind? And he goes, yeah, she's always on the railroad track and then late at night. And she goes, oh yeah, I've seen her in the middle of the night tucking in Marilyn and Carolyn, which is myself and my twin sister. And I just looked at her because I had never mentioned anything to anybody because I thought I was seeing things. And she had seen the same thing I don't know how many times. And so had they. So we were all like, so I still never told anybody until later. And I was like, oh my God, I saw her. She went into the closet. And I'll never forget that. That scared me so bad. But at the same time, I thought it was my mom. And Liliana and I were talking earlier about, seems like a lot of the experiences that experience anyway, seems like they look somewhat like somebody you already know. So maybe that's, I don't know if they like, who knows? Maybe they take on the appearance of someone else, or maybe it is someone else.
Yeah.
More theories.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no way to know.
There's tons
But
of them out
she
there.
really did look like my mom. I thought it was my mom, except younger with all of her teeth. But the
That
fact
is
when Penny
crazy.
told us that she saw her tucking us in, she said she just said "Mama," and she just turned and smiled at her. And I was
Wow.
like, God, why didn't you tell me that? You know, she was actually so. But we did have she had a stepsister that passed away when she was 15, and they looked very much alike. So I think back on that as an adult later, and I thought, who knows, maybe it was her. And it's funny because her name was Liliana as well.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
She passed away at 15 under strange circumstances. Still don't really know what happened. They said it was blood poisoning, but you know how that way back in
Well,
the 40s, early 50s.
reincarnated.
Do what?
I said reincarnated.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was really weird. But that was just one of my experiences. So, Lily, do you have another one?
I actually was about to tell you, I have a similar experience, not with, well, a similar one to that, but there was a certain situation that happened that I will never forget to this day. It had to do with my sisters. I have three younger sisters, but there was only two that would sleep in the same room as me because my mom had 7 kids, so we had to share. Some of us
Man,
had to
that's a
share
lot.
bedrooms. Yeah, girl, yes. But I would sleep in the room with my sisters, and they would have their beds like
Yeah.
they had twin beds, but they were like right next to each other. Well, I remember one of my sisters would sleepwalk. I'm not sure if she does still, but when I was sleeping in that room, when I was still living in that house with them, she would sleepwalk. There was times where I would wake up because I don't know, if I feel like someone's watching me, I'll wake up. And
Yeah.
she would be standing right next to my bed. And she was like short. I mean, she was like, she's young. She's, I think, like 10 right now, 12, if anything. Probably a little bit older. Lost track of time. But
Yeah, it's easy to do.
she would like, I would wake up and I would like look at her and she would still have her eyes closed, but she would pet my hair and she'd be like, just, and I would be
Oh,
like, go back to bed. So I would turn her around and I would like kind of guide her back to her bed and she'd fall back to sleep. There was another situation where she started talking and I woke up and I was like, what is going on? She was on top of her older sister. These are the my stepdad's children with my mom. She was standing like literally over her sister, and she was like, "I told you not to touch my toys. I told you not to mess with
God,
my toys."
Brett. Hold
She
on, Brett just
grabbed
scared
her.
us.
Oh no, you're fine. She
Brett.
grabbed her sister by the throat.
It was Crystal.
Oh,
That is
he
funny.
scared us. I'm sorry. Go ahead. He just slammed the door.
No, you're fine. No, but one of my younger sister choked my other sister out. It was crazy. Crazy. I will never
Hold on,
forget.
I had a
That's
scare. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Paul,
no,
Brett
that's
scared.
funny. I was saying my scariest experience with my sisters was that interaction that she had. One of my sisters, she's 14 now. Yeah, she's 14 now. She was like dead asleep, and her younger sister was over her, literally on top of her, choking her, saying, "I told you not to touch my toys." And I woke up to that, so I was like, "Girl, I'm going back to sleep. I don't want to watch."
Oh my
It was
God.
crazy.
That's
And
scary.
that house, that same sister that was choking the older one,
Yeah.
when we first moved into that house, she was like ran in crying. She was like, "Mom, the lady scared me." And my mom was like, "What lady?" And we saw the mailman leaving. So my mom's like, "It was probably just the mail lady that she, scared or whatever, because it's a new house. She doesn't know anybody, whatever." So I was like, "Well, show me the lady." She took me to the backyard and then pointed at an empty house that was next door, which I told you this earlier. When we moved into that house, the people there looked like they were moving out. So when my sister took me to the backyard, she pointed at one of the windows to the house, and she was like, the lady was right there in the window. She scared me. And she was like freaking out. I was like, that is so weird. Later on, come to find out, the lady that lived in that house had actually passed away like a week before we moved in. So her kids were moving her
Wow.
stuff out.
Wow, that's
Wow.
crazy. Wow. Ooh, Brett
Well,
scared me so
funny,
bad during that.
the neighbor, one of our neighbors actually bought that house, and she started moving in and remodeling. Well, she gave us a tour of the house, and she told us this was her room, and it was the room where my sister said she saw the lady.
Oh, I would not want that room. I would be telling her, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Oh,
It
that's a
was,
good story. So,
yeah.
Baltimore, do you have another story? We're just going in rounds, so it's your turn if you want to tell another story, hun.
I mean, so many. Where can I start?
Yeah.
I
The
know.
only reason, yeah,
That's how
the
I
only
feel
reason-
too. We all feel like that. That's why we wanted to do this. So I said, well, don't worry. We're going to have a show again. Well, we're going to have the radio show again on Monday. We're going to be discussing these. So we got to save some for that as well.
sounds
And
perfect. Well,
yes.
I don't know if you see me moving around, looking around. I'm actually looking in my rearview mirrors and stuff like that, because
Right.
the area that I'm at right now, there have been over 35 reports of Bigfoot here,
Oh,
and
man.
there's
Wow.
some
Bigfoot,
times
get
that they
it
would
on
actually,
camera.
yep, and they would actually grab the tailgates of the truck and shake it. So that's why
Wait a
I'm kind
minute.
of,
Wow.
I know
yeah,
somebody
kind of,
told me about that. Somebody told me her husband was it. That was, who was that? Somebody I know that he was so mad because somebody shook his truck like that.
yep,
Told me that
it
story
happened.
for real. And it wasn't very far from here. I'd forgotten about that. Somebody at work was telling me that. And he would
Yep,
take them to that same spot and it would happen again.
Bigfoot's walking up to
yep,
you going,
Yeah, but they never could see anything.
no.
exactly. So
Whoa.
that's why I'm looking at. That's
If
why I
it
got my.
happened,
Yep.
Brett, what are you doing?
If it happens, probably might happen here live, and I'm gone. So,
Yeah, let us know if it
well,
happens.
yeah. I'll tell you like this, man. But there's, I mean, I when I have experiences and everything like, well, I would tell you one that happened in Gettysburg,
Okay.
and again, it's a gift. Um, we were actually when we actually went with the ghost team out there, and they would never tell us what happened because we're gonna have to try to figure it out. Try to let the spirits guide us.
Over there.
And we went to one area where it was like a high school, and there was bleachers there, and there was a battle that was there right behind there, and I forgot what kind of these people were there, but I know that was part of the Civil War. And so sure enough, and as soon as I got there, the very first thing I smelled was decaying flesh.
Oh.
So, and everybody just kept on walking. And I'm going, stop, don't you smell that? And I'm talking about making your stomach hurl, making it. And I stayed in the area. I said, I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to stay put. And my fiance comes up and goes, well, I'm going to go further up. He goes, you go with a group, stuff like that. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to try to figure this out. Something happened here. And then so then sure enough, and they go, come on. He goes, no, I want to stay put. He goes, there is something here dealing with death, and I want to try to figure out what it is. And by the end of the day, by the end of the night, somebody's going to tell me what happened here. And sure enough, and the guy comes, and sure enough, the investigation was over and everything like that. And then so everybody was telling their experiences and everything like that. And he pointed at me. He goes, tell me again, what do you smell? He goes, I smell death. He goes, I'm sorry, but there is decaying flesh here, and if y'all can't smell it, I'm sorry, but there's something gross. Wow. And he looked at me. He goes, you know what? He goes, when they were making those stadiums, those bleachers over there, they found 15 bodies there.
Wow.
Oh my
said,
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's a phenomenon called phantom smells.
Wow.
Oh, I believe that 100%. There have been a lot of times where I could be like at my house or anywhere, and it just normal, nothing weird, and I'll just smell something super random, and I'm just like it brings like a memory to me. Sometimes it's a memory that I don't even have. That's mine.
Or that you don't know you have. You've
Yeah.
forgotten. Yeah, like I smelled cigar tobacco in here one night in the other room, and I told Britt, what is that? And he said his dad used to smoke the little cigars. Well, I had no idea. Of course, we're in his mom and dad's old house, so it makes sense. But I had no idea. If by the way, let me interrupt for a minute. If any of you guys out there watching, by the way, thank you for tuning in. If y'all have a story you'd like to tell, please message me on Carolyn's Corner Messenger. Oh, okay, awesome. That's funny. It's funny. I didn't even see it till just now. So, Liliana, you said Chandler added to his story. Go ahead, Liliana.
He did. He said, I have sleep paralysis occasionally. When that happens, people tend to feel a presence of someone or something there next to them, but they can't see it. He said, I never had issues with sleep paralysis until I had that experience I mentioned earlier. Now, when I get sleep paralysis, I always feel the exact same presence of the figure I saw. And every time it happens, I feel like its intent.
We've talked about that.
Its intent is to kill me. So now I just think ever since that experience happened, whatever that thing is just following me everywhere I go.
Now, I got a question to ask. When he says follow you everywhere, well, ask him this question. When he says like everywhere where you go, does that mean a different location, different house, or
I bet so. I bet so. Is that what you mean by that, Chandler? Because I've experienced sleep paralysis a lot. That's why that really struck a chord with me. I've experienced a lot of this stuff too. So it's kind of weird, Chandler. You're not alone on that for sure.
I have one story with that too.
Yeah, so it's terrifying.
Yes, different houses, he said.
Yeah, different. Yeah, I believe it. Oh, I see it now.
He said even on trips.
Yeah, I believe it. But wow.
Something's attached to him. So the thing is, again, something's attached to him.
Yep.
And something happened where he probably found something or got something where it actually belonged to somebody in the past many years ago, and that really that he really did. It was he has an attachment.
That is what I mentioned to Carolyn earlier.
Yeah, so there's some people that are haunted. There's some people that bring, ghosts with them, that they're attached to these, and then they're so difficult getting these ghosts away from there. But there's certain ceremonies that you could possibly do to get these ghosts away from you. But I just cannot discuss that on the show.
Yeah. Right, and in my experiences with the sleep paralysis, I haven't had it in years, thank God, but I've had it several times here in the house, and Brett, my husband, is my witness. I mean, it is the most terrifying thing. And yes, the first time I had it happen, Chandler, was when I was a child. I was on the top bunk of a bunk bed, and all I could feel was I couldn't move. I didn't think I was breathing, but all I knew was, for some reason, I felt a horrible sense of danger. Like to me, it felt like somebody was in the house killing everybody in my family. That's what sense I got. And I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't say anything to help them. Yeah, it was terrible. And I've had it several times since then. My brother, he's done a lot of research on different things. And he suggested that I try, whenever I feel like that, or when I have that happen, to take a moment and just try to breathe and say the Lord's Prayer to myself over and over. And that has really helped. And I did a lot of research, and they say it's just because, I don't know, they say it's sleep paralysis, and it is simply because you're in between awake and sleep. Yeah. And it says that's why you dream that's why you're paralyzed. You're actually paralyzed when you dream, because if not, you would get up and walk around and act out your dreams. So after I did that little bit of research, Chandler, it made me feel a little better, because it was happening so often to where, the last time it happened, oh my God, I swore somebody was in the house. Yeah. I swore.
See, and Chandler experiencing this, it's everywhere he goes, he experiences. Yes, it could possibly be that, but also from what Baltimore said is the fact that a spirit probably attached himself. And,
could be that too.
And I'm going to sound a little crazy here, but I'm going to say this: I do not buy things at garage sales. Nope, I will not do it, because, or estate sales or anything. As cool as it is, no, because all you're doing is, because spirits have an energy, and the energy attaches itself to
objects. Yeah,
and those objects you are bringing into your house,
right? And
then you basically allow this entity, this energy into your house. And if it was a negative energy, you bring the negative energy into your house. If it's positive, it's positive. It's the way it works. But if you happen to bring the negative energy into your house, you're going to find yourself, especially if you're in a marriage, all of a sudden you're going to start experiencing weird things happening in your marriage. You're going to start feeling angry.
Right.
He just added on. Let me read it out loud really quick.
Yes, please.
He said, "It's always standing over me, staring at me. I hear these sounds like waves crashing. The air pressure changes. I can't move, breathe, or speak. Sometimes I'm trying to scream and nothing comes out. And it just feels like that figure is about to kill me. And once I'm able to move again, it just vanishes."
Yeah. Chandler,
it's horrifying. God, that's horrifying.
I would simply suggest doing a little bit of research on how to get rid of a spirit. It's a good thing that actually it hasn't hurt you at all. But I mean,
I will say I have one where I had physical contact with, like, whatever that was. But I agree with you, Paul, with the whole, like, I do buy used furniture. Most of my furniture is used, but every time I get it, I just kind of hold it and I say out loud, like, I'm going to take care of this. Like, This is mine now. I will take care of it.
Yeah.
And I've never, so far, I have not had any issues. But I make it a point to kind of use that, like, as a ritual to, like, this is my property now. Yeah, like I'm cleansing. Yeah, like it's my property now. You took care of it. It is now my turn. I got it.
I accept this for myself. If doing attached to it, stay here.
Yeah, but then again, Chandler, you talked about the incident at your friend's house when you were 17. Who's to say that it's not that same entity that's been attached to you ever since then? I mean,
and there are people like me. I am one of them. I have a little bit of Native American in me as well. And for some reason, on my dad's side, my dad has this where he can experience spirits, and he's actually brought in a lot of stuff and had to tell me, especially as a child. But of course, as a teenager, you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to do what I want to. Well, my dad basically told me a very important thing is don't mess with anything that you don't know about.
Yeah.
I never understood that until I called the Lechusa. When I called the Lechusa, I completely understood what he meant by don't mess with something that you don't understand, because, that's a story. But
actually, isn't it your turn? Let's see. We did Baltimore.
That one's a mediocre. I want to tell a scary story.
I don't know. To me, they're all scary.
No, this was terrifying.
Okay, so I think it's Paul's turn, right? Baltimore, did you finish your story?
Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Okay. I want to hear yours.
It's hard because we have so many things. It's like we should all be in a room together. We would scare the crap out of each other. It's scary enough.
Okay, that's why I said next time. I got plenty of space in my living room.
Yes, but it's really neat to be able to do this, though, really. I hope those of you who are online with us, we have a few people that this is interesting to you. If you have any stories you'd like to tell us, please message us and let us know. Okay, we appreciate you tuning in. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead, Paul.
So I joined the military, and I was in the Army for 8 years. The first duty assignment I had was I got to go to Okinawa, Japan.
Wow.
Lovely island, 60 miles long. I want to say it was 3 miles wide at the widest spot. It was a nice island.
Wow, that little.
Yeah, and it was my first duty assignment. As soon as I got there, my sergeant's like, "Are you ready for a party? This is a vacation time." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" But anyway, that's more of the funny stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But no, we had my first wife and I had an apartment on the outs of Torii Station, and we got to experience some crazy stuff. Now, in Okinawa, they had World War II. You know, the Japanese were on the island. Americans were coming in and doing all kinds of stuff, trying to take over the island. But in the apartment, my wife would always tell me there's a kid that plays with my daughter at the time, her toys, and they moves them across the floor and stuff. I never experienced that part of it. I wish I would have, because to me that's awesome. But play with the toys, make the noise, turn them on, turn them off. But one night, my wife actually woke me up out of sleep and told me that somebody's trying to take our daughter. And literally, and I swear, it scared the heck out of me. My daughter was ripped because she was sleeping between us, and my daughter was ripped from between us and was being dragged across the bed. I had a hold of one arm. My first wife had a hold of her other arm, and we were playing tug of war with my daughter, and my daughter was floating in the air.
Oh my
God. No
God.
joke. Wow. She was floating in the air, and we were playing tug of war with this unknown entity at the end of the bed, and we didn't see the entity, but it had my daughter. And I just go back and think, man, what would have happened if we would have lost grip?
Oh my God.
And she would have been taken. What would have been done? What would have got her back? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. That has got to be the scariest time that I've ever had on a parent. That was the scariest.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Especially when it comes to your child.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same thing.
And that's why it was so scary. And that's why I believe this stuff, because I mean, it was.
There's a lot of stuff that cannot be explained, that it happens and you're like, what in the world?
Yeah. How can you explain it when it's unexplainable?
And a lot of that stuff is the reason why I start writing stories and books.
Yes, because you have to use your imagination on it. Because people are like, oh, that didn't really happen. You know, you tell some people and they think you're just making it up, or they're like, oh boy, you're crazy. Yeah. So Baltimore, I don't see any action, anything happening yet. I thought I saw a light behind you a while ago. It kind of freaked me out.
No, I'm gonna probably get off here in a few minutes. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'll probably get off here. But let's see. God, there's so many. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to tell you a story that is not paranormal, and I'm going to tell you a story that is not dealing with Bigfoot.
Okay.
And remind you, I'm 55 years old, and since the age of 7, 8, I've always been in the woods. The woods to me was my safe haven.
Right.
So I used to take care of goats here, and one particular day, I noticed these goats passing away, and they were passing away weird like.
Right.
And where it had a puncture wound right at the back of the neck, and it had a hole on the side to the rib cage, maybe the size, maybe a good sized hole, maybe like around an 1.25 inches in diameter, and lo and behold, that these animals, when I would find them, they would still be alive.
Wow.
And I'm going, what in the world does this, right? So I didn't have no gun or anything like that, and I had to take it out of its misery, so I did. And so I did it. So I decided to do an autopsy on it there on the spot, because I want to figure out what happened to this animal. Excuse the way I described it, but it's true. And when I opened it up, parts of the liver was missing, and there was hardly any blood in it. and there was actually a hole right by the heart. And so I found animals like this, maybe like around 25 of these things like this dead, well, still alive. So one particular day, must have been just about dark. It was between day and night, and I didn't have my binoculars with me. And lo and behold, a few yards, I would say it must have been pretty close to like around 300, 400 yards away, there was something on the tree. And it actually looked like a small person on that tree. You could actually see the head, you could actually see the body shape and everything. But I said, you know what? I'm going to wake up very early in the morning to go find out what that is. And I brought my rifles and everything like that type deal. So when I came back to the same spot where I actually saw it, the sucker was gone.
Wow.
Wow. I'm sorry. I was. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. Somebody else is wanting to join us. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I never figured out what that thing could possibly could have been. And after that, I didn't have any more animal attacks.
Chupacabra.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Had to be. Being Mexican American and my parents, like literally first generation, my parents being born in Mexico, that is a thing. That is a real thing.
You know what? I know this sounds, you're not going to believe me, but we actually saw Chupacabra, literally, I'm not kidding, in Schulenburg. Schulenburg has got some history. You should go over there and do some research, I'm telling you. We were driving on a country road, a farmer market road in the middle of the night. We were going to meet our friends somewhere to go out. And I mean, there was no houses. And our car, we had the high beams on. And all of a sudden, we see this animal on the right side of the road running by our car. And the lights hit it. I go, what the heck is that? And Brett goes, it looks like a chupacabra. It looks exactly like the picture of them that they have. You know what I mean? It scared the crap out of us. I've never seen anything like that since. Wow. That's interesting.
I've seen so much stuff in these woods and encountered so much stuff. And then I've seen the Meiji coyotes. I've seen the Meiji foxes. I've seen the Meiji raccoons. I basically seen it all. Yeah. And there's sometimes that there's some creatures like the chupacabra and the cuero. That was actually a coyote that
I wasn't
they
sure.
found that aged pretty bad. And the thing is again, the thing is again, is like for me was when I first saw that, the very first thing that I thought of was the teeth and everything like that type of deal. I knew that, but the thing was for me was how could I make that puncture wound on these animals?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that got to me. But like in the woods, I think that was the most scariest thing to me at the time, because something unknown like that really got to me. Because ghosts stuff happens to me all the time, and basically on a regular basis. I'm going to tell you one more, and after that, I'm going to go home.
Okay.
I was working in an apartment complex, and so I got a call dealing with water coming upstairs. So I was new. I was new to the apartment complex, and it was my very first night call. And I decided. So they gave me a call. I went in, and lo and behold, I knocked on the door, and then nobody answered. And as soon as I opened up the door, there was this lady, and she was dressed in all red. She was basically dressed in red, and right by the balcony. I said, "Ma'am," and I said, "Ma'am, I'm going to go check out your leak that you have in your house," and I locked the door on the way out. And sure enough, and the lady didn't tell me anything. So sure enough, I went over there, locked up the door, stuff, and did fix the issue, and left. I was there no more than 5-10 minutes, and sure enough, the lady was still in the balcony. Well, that's odd. So I went over there, locked everything up and everything. So, but the thing was wild about it. There was no furniture in there. That what threw me off. I said, "What's this lady doing here without furniture?" You know. So I didn't. So anyway, did my job left. So sure enough, next morning I come up there and he goes, "Hey, so you had I heard that you had a maintenance call on this apartment." He goes, "Yeah, water was leaking upstairs." He goes, "Did you find out what it was doing?" He goes, "For some reason the AC was leaking and the condensation line was clogged up." He goes, "That's not supposed to be on." I said, "I'm sorry, but the AC was on." And he comes up and he goes, "Anything else happen?" I said, "Yeah, I saw that lady in red." She goes, "What lady in red?" He goes, "There was a lady in red in the balcony." She goes, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." And she comes up, she goes, "Well, that lady in red, she actually committed suicide and she jumped over the balcony."
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And you actually saw her and talked to her.
Yeah.
That's why
I
she
was,
didn't respond.
yeah.
Wow. So it's one of those, what do you call it, where they keep repeating the same thing? I forgot what that's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
Residual. Like a residual haunting. Oh my God.
Exactly.
I am so
Yeah.
proud of you.
I remember the word. Aren't you proud of me, Paul? I remembered the word. I'm so proud of myself too. So
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry, Baltimore.
yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. And we
Okay.
need to do this again. I really
Yes,
did enjoy it.
absolutely. We possibly next Wednesday we'll do it again. We're going to do it on our radio show, but we don't have enough room for that many people. That's the problem. We only have 3 microphones. But let me see if I can figure something out. Maybe we can have you come on the Facebook Live and do it with us because we're going to be doing Facebook Live during the show. It is
Okay.
Carolyn's Corner on Monday night at 7:30. Let me see. We should be able to. He should be able to come on Facebook Live because we just don't have enough chairs. We've already got all the seats taken.
All right.
I'll let
Well,
you
let's-
know if you're available.
Sounds good. Just send me a text.
Okay, I sure will. Thank you so much for coming on, Baltimore.
Thank
Means
you.
a
It's
lot.
nice
Thank you very
meeting
much. I really
you.
did enjoy this. Same here. Well, y'all have a good night.
You
You
take
too.
care of yourself. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So,
And then there were 2.
yes,
Oh, 3.
3.
I get that.
So
What
my
happened to
friend
me,
Roland-
guys?
3. He forgot to count himself. Actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said two cameras. That's
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
Liliana Roland is on here, and he wants me to tell y'all a story. He may join us. I sent him the link. He wants us, Roland. First of all, before I start the story, are you still here? Just say yes or no, so I'll know. I don't want to tell it if you're not here, because you can correct me, because you know my memory is so bad. Let me see if he's still here. Let's give him a second. Chandler, are you still on, sir? By the way, thank you for joining us. I'm trying to see who all we have on here. Let's see. Chandler.
Comment if you're on. Comment.
Yes, please. We just like to
hello.
know who's on, who's listening, who's watching. It says we have 3, but Brett may be 1. Okay, Roland. I see Roland. He's on, waiting in the waiting room.
Does he have long hair?
Yeah, kind of long. Roland, did you want to come
Chandler's
on
on
right
too.
now and you can join us, or I can just tell the story and then bring you on? I can't hear you, but I can see you. Now or in a minute? Let me see. Perfect timing, by the way. Just say no if you don't want to come on now. Thumbs up if you want to come on now. Yes, I can't hear you when you talk. I can only see you.
Oh, he's okay.
Okay, let me see. Was that a no? Come on, Roland. Come on. You ready to come on?
Can't hear him. His mic's not working.
No, I can't hear you until you come on the screen with us. So you can type your answer right now. Do you want to come on? Yes or no? I sent you a message in Messenger. So, folks, and one of my friends, Esteban. Hi, Esteban. Well, Esteban, hi. Welcome to Carolyn's Corner After Hours. Roland, do you want to come on? Yes or no? Thumbs up for yes. Thumbs down for no.
Roland, just get on.
Okay, I'm bringing him on. Here we go.
Yeah, just put him on.
All right, there he
All
is.
right.
Roland, can you hear us? Hey, Roland, can you see us and can you hear us?
You can't hear him. His microphone's messed up.
Roland, can you hear us? Because he's not saying anything. Speak to me, Roland.
T-Bird.
Roland, can you hear us? So,
And he froze.
Welcome,
He's a
Esteban.
frozen duck.
Uh-oh, you're frozen, Roland. What happened? What happened? Chandler, thank you for sticking around. So let me try it
Yep, he's
again.
gone.
Try it again, Roland. Try it again. Try it again. Okay, now he says yes. Try to use that same link and come back on. You must have had a bad connection. So Roland one night says, hey, I want to go ghost hunting. Does anybody want to go? Well, me being the brave one, not really. I'm the biggest chicken ever.
That
but
is
I
so
really
Roland.
right? I really like doing stuff like that. So we were like, yeah. My sister was here, and what was her name? I can't remember. Veronica, a lady by the name of Veronica was here. Man, that black cat's tail freaks me out every time it goes by. They were both here,
He's
so they weren't
clingy.
with us. So it was me and my husband Brett and Roland and Marilyn and Veronica. So there were 5 of us. And hold on. Roland, what happened to you? So first of all, before we left, we knew we were going to go. So we had our phones completely charged. He's messaging on there. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay, I don't know what happened to him. Roland, come back. We had our phones completely charged, first of all. And we took our car. Yes, we took our car. It's been so long, I can't remember. We took our car, and Roland, he had a little digital camera, and we had our phones and some flashlights. That's all we had, because we didn't have any instruments or, equipment.
Oh,
because,
it was a last minute ghost
yeah, it was the last minute. So he leads us out and tells Brett, they're up in the front and telling him where to go. And he takes us to this old cemetery. I wish Brett or Roland were on here because I don't want to give wrong information. It was way out in the country over by the Amish. I can't remember what it's called. If Brett was in here. Brett,
We have
I know
one
you're
of
in
those
there.
down Charcoal Road.
Yeah, it's way out there, and it was spooky looking. To a
Wait,
cemetery.
which direction? Going towards...
Going towards
way?
George West.
Toward George West. 'Cause that's what
Oh,
Paul did.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Brett, what's the name of that cemetery?
I don't know. It's toward the Amish community.
Towards the Amish community. Roland was here, but
that's going to George West.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Los Olmos?
Yes.
Is that it? Los. Okay, Brett said yes, Lupita. I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar to me. It is? I know it was a Spanish name, right? Way out there. Right? Okay, so they had, we get there, we get out of the car. Hold on just a minute. They're talking about translations. Okay. So Brett, come tell the story with me. Okay, so Roland was going to come on here because I have the worst memory. So we get out of the car and we start walking. And first thing we notice right away, because we're using our phones, I'm using my phone and we have a flashlight, right? I have my phone, Brett has his phone, everybody's got their phone. So we start walking into the cemetery, and they have a lot of the lights that come on when it gets dark. Just the little dim lights. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the kind you put on the sidewalk. Solar lighting, little solar lighting. Okay, Brett's here with me too. Here he is, guys. He's got a much better memory than I do. Hi. So we have Lupita here, we have Esteban here, and we have Chandler here. And Roland is somewhere. He got lost. He got lost. He was coming on.
Came on and got up.
Anyway, so the first thing we notice is the what happened to the phone? On the way over there, something happened to the phone. Oh, Roland's phone was completely charged, and as we're driving and we're getting closer, remember his phone completely dies.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What in the heck? This phone was completely charged." And that's as we're getting closer. His phone completely dies, like all the way out of battery. And that was so weird. He's like, it was completely charged. Remember? It was so weird. We're like, well, that's strange. So we get out of the car, and it's so loud in this old house. And those decorations are pretty cool. Thank you, Esteban. We had them nicer. Everything was fixed up nice, but then I knocked it all over. Hey, Crystal.
And
so
this
we
stays
get out of
up
the car.
year round.
Okay, wait. Roland's back. I'm bringing him on. Roland, I'm bringing you on. Let's see if it'll work this time. Roland, can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? Say something.
We can't hear you.
Turn your volume up on your phone. Okay, I'm telling the story. If I say something wrong, type it in. I can't hear you. My God. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Roland, whenever, try talking.
Allow your microphone.
Allow your microphone. I don't know how you do that. You got to give the program access to your microphone. This is terrible.
Go
Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway. So, right, Roland? Now just shake your head. I can't see you very good. Fix your mic. There, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
So they're headbanging.
So, Roland, right? Your phone ran out of battery, right? Is that right? Was it your phone that the battery stopped? You can't hear me either?
He don't remember.
He can't hear me. Oh my God. Anyway, so we start walking through the cemetery and I immediately just start taking pictures and Roland's got his phone and he's taking pictures. We're taking pictures. Pictures. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we come upon this grave. And it has a lot of windmills with butterflies. Like, what do you call them? Windmills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like the wind chimes. It has all these butterfly wind chimes. And what caught my eye was it had paperwork like on one of the wind chimes right by, or was it on the headstone?
An invitation.
It was an invitation. And I thought, well, that's weird. So I walk over there and I start reading the invitation. And we realized we were all over there. I start reading it out loud because I was like, look at this, guys. And it was an invitation to an upcoming wedding, right? That was going to be that weekend, which was really weird. And so I started saying, wow, gosh, somebody really misses you because they invited you to the wedding. I'm sure you'll be there in spirit. Because the lady that had passed, it was a lady, said her name, I can't remember, but she was a rather young lady, right?
No, I think it was like her grandma or something.
Grandma, or so, I don't know, but anyway, I have the worst memory. And I said, wow, that's pretty amazing. You must have meant a lot to them for them to put that invitation on there. I know they loved you a lot. And obviously you love butterflies because all of these beautiful wind chimes are butterflies. And I sat there and, and I said, we don't mean to disrupt you or bother you. Now, keep in mind, there was no wind out at the cemetery like at all. It was so hot. It was so humid, right? No air was moving, honestly, none. Right? Roland's shaking his head. God, I wish I could hear you, Roland. Get in your car and come to the house. Come to the house. Come on. Oh, wait, type it in there. Come to the house. Anyway, I want to be
come to mine too. You should know where I live.
Anyway, so he's looking at me funny. So anyway, all of a sudden, one of the wind chimes, the butterfly wind chimes, starts slowly spinning around. Honestly.
Faster.
And then it got faster and faster. And there was no wind. No wind at all. I promise. I swear on all that's holy. Everybody is a witness. All of us. Roland, Brett, my sister, Veronica. We were all there. And I was like, oh my God, did you see that?
And the more you kept talking.
The more I kept talking, the more it would spin. And then we started to hear noises and there's like no houses out there. None. We started hearing noises like branches crackling and little yells. It was so scary. So we just started taking pictures. Roland was already doing it. Just started snapping pictures. And I'm trying to be brave, but I'm actually scared, like freaking out. So we kept hearing all these weird noises. So we're walking back, kind of going back the other way. And in the meantime, Roland had taken a lot of pictures. So had I, mostly Roland. He had the camera. We had phones. And so on the way out, because first of all, my foot felt, okay, he says 5.
5 pictures.
5 pictures?
Get a notebook and write it down.
Yeah, or type it on the messenger. Type it on the messenger.
Just write it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I don't know why we can't hear him. Anyway, so we're getting ready to leave. And we're headed out that way. And all of a sudden, my foot goes, the decorations are pretty cool. Thank you. That's the same one you already said. Esteban, this is so funny. We can't hear him. So it's pretty bad. My witnesses can't hear me, can't talk. And we're getting ready to leave. And we see another grave that caught, I can't read it, that caught our eye, caught Brett's eye. And he's like, oh, that's one of my buddies. I didn't know he died. And we stopped because it had a picture of his friend on the tombstone. And it was a guy in a cowboy hat, right? And it was a beautiful grave because they had gravel all in front of it. So it was a very clean looking grave with flowers. It just looked really, somebody was really taking care of it. And it had a really nice picture of this man about Brett's age, wasn't it?
Yeah. My friend.
Yes, his friend in the cowboy hat. And Brett said, oh, I didn't know he had died. So Brett knelt down to read the tombstone. He said, oh, he just died, whatever. And now this is in the middle of the night, probably what, midnight, 1 a.m., 1:30, 1 or 2 in the morning, something like that. Can you see it, Brett? I can't see it. We can't see it. It's not a good
Type
idea.
it in the private chat.
Yeah, type it in the private chat, Roland. We can see it then. Anyway, we can't see it.
Wait,
I can't see it. I can't see it. Type it in private chat. So funny.
Or write it in the comments.
Yes, can he hear you?
You can hear us, right, Roland?
Anyway, so Brett's leaning down, squatting down to look at this, and he took a moment. He's like, "Man, I'm sorry, buddy. I would have been at your funeral if I would have known." Oh yeah, definitely. When I get done, for real. Thank you, Roland, for reminding me. And all of a sudden, I say, "Oh my God, don't move, Brett." And he's like, "What?" And on Brett's shoulder, this is the middle of the night. Where's your face at, Roland? Let me see your face. Making sure people know that I'm telling this right. There was a huge monarch butterfly on Brett's shoulder, landed on his shoulder.
Wow.
I promise you. And I was like, what the?
Bugs or nothing.
There was no bugs. I know. There was no bugs or anything there. And I was like, oh my God, Brett. And this is in the middle of the night. You don't see butterflies at night. Is that right, Roland? Make sure you're right. Okay, you can just type in your answer, your whatever. Just type. Anyway, so we get ready to leave because we're freaked out. I mean, I'm freaked out. First of all, the noises, the pictures of the
angels.
The
Well, he didn't see it till like the next day, but
yeah.
Like
Okay. Yeah. Well, wait. Yeah. And then we get ready to leave. We get in the car and we go home, and I think it was when we got home that we saw that.
Before.
It was before we left. Roland said, "Who put their hand on the car?" Because it was dewy. It was real dewy outside, like not raining, but just dewy.
Nobody
yes.
had been at the car.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about, the handprint on the car.
Okay, who's T-Bird? Who's
That's
T-Bird?
Roland. That's Roland.
Where? Okay.
That's Roland.
Hold on, tell him just a minute. Anyway, so Roland goes, "Whose handprint is this?" I never heard you call T-Bird. That's why I'm like, what? And
dumb.
all of us were like, I don't know. And it was on my side of the car, the passenger side. And so we all go and put our hands up to that handprint. And it was bigger than any of our hands. And it was a solid handprint. And the crazy thing is, it stayed there until the next day.
Wow.
Yes, it stayed there till the next day, I swear. And to this day, none of us know what it was. We don't know if it was a ghost. Nobody was around the car. And I said, well, I remember I closed the door, but I put my hand to it. And it was like twice the size of my hand, twice the size of Roland's. It was a huge handprint. And we still don't know how it got there. And the fact that it stayed there, it was like, because it was dewy. But how usually stuff like that would disappear. But it stayed on the car till the next day on the window.
Girl, I would have done that black powder and like tape. Be like, run these prints. Whose are these?
Yeah, really, it was so weird. But the whole night, and then later after Roland got his, because was it a digital camera? After he got to look at the photos, he had some. You posted them the other day. I saw them. He had some really cool photos of what we couldn't explain. One of them looked like an angel. Yeah, they just looked really weird. And
Hey,
we had
Sarah?
heard lots and lots of noises. And I know the butterfly, that was so weird because I was sitting there talking to this lady like I knew her. I was like, well, I see you love butterflies. Your family must really miss you. That's what I was doing at the cemetery. And we kept talking.
And
Roland.
a live butterfly lands on
Yeah, and then the live butterfly lands on his shoulder. And Roland kept saying, we don't mean any disrespect. We don't want to interrupt your, we know this is your territory. We don't want to interrupt you. We just want to come by and pay our respects. And he kept saying that, which I thought was good, because we didn't want anything scary to happen. But the handprint, I don't know about that either. The whole night was just
strange,
so weird. But I'm so glad we did it. But I was such a chicken. But we did it. I almost broke my leg too because my foot went in a hole, and
luckily
it was a hole. My foot, it went all the way down to my knee, from my foot to my knee.
Oh, that's
And when
scary.
Brett came over there and shined the light, it was a hole like you would put a post in. The weirdest thing was, guys, I'm for real. My foot, somehow, it was barely big enough for my foot. Yeah, I know. He needs to send them. Roland, if he needs to send them to me so I can put them on here. My foot somehow went in the hole but missed a solid steel pipe that was sticking up the middle. Right, guys? They were my
Wow.
witnesses. And somehow I did not get a scratch. I did not get a cut. And it went all the way down to my knee. Because we saw Roland saw one of his old friends there as well who had unfortunately passed away very young. And that was right when we were at his grave. because we were looking at all of the trinkets and things that family members had left, and he stopped to, you know, to offer his condolences and, you know, talk to him. But yeah, pretty cool, right? I mean, it was pretty weird. I know it's a long story, but it was a night I'll never forget, and it was really cool. I'd like to do it again. Never remember. I do have a bad memory, Roland. I don't know why we can't hear you. Hold on, guys. Crystal wants me to send a link so she can come on here and join us. Let me do that real quick. Let me just find her in.
Here, while you do that, I have a quick story.
Go ahead.
So,
can you still hear me?
Oh, here, I'm going to talk about that experience I had with the sleep paralysis.
Yes.
Now that I remember. So, I don't know what it was, and my first husband can testify to this. Every pregnancy that I have had sleep paralysis, and I have had a shadow person over me every time. The only thing is with one specifically, he was at work. We were staying out on my dad's property out on 888, and this is probably the scariest encounter that I've had because it was physical. It was like a physical contact for me. And I woke up. I was like a month before popping with, I want to say it was my middle child. I think it was him. And I woke up and I couldn't move, but I saw like a shadow. It was daylight. It was literally daylight. And I saw a shadow like standing over my bed. And I just looked at it, and it like came at me, like it started to choke me. It literally started to choke me, and I could not move, but I could feel it literally choking me. And I like tried with everything to scream, to move, to do something. Nothing worked. And I don't know what it was, but I managed to get enough strength that I threw a sheet over it, and I started choking it back. I was like, not today, Satan. Literally not today.
Wow.
And my room was like a mess. And I don't know how it happened, but it just vanished. And I was like, just started crying, like just broke down. Like, I don't know what just happened. This is weird. I've never had a physical contact with anything before. So I called him, and I was like crying, and I was like, please come home. Like, this just happened. And he was like, what in the world? His mom came by, and she blessed the house, and we didn't really have anything like that happen again. But I have had so many experiences, but it's only been when I was pregnant. The only time I've ever had sleep paralysis was when I was pregnant, like a month before I gave birth to all three of my kids. Crazy, insane. And I never really understood why that was.
That's weird. Crazy. Yeah. And when, Chandler was talking about the sleep paralysis earlier. You know, he said he could feel something in the room, right, Brett? There, almost every time I've had it, which thank God I haven't had it in a long time. But literally, one time I thought it was a cat. It felt like a cat climbing up on the bed. And, you know, you could feel the covers going down, like a cat walking on me, like it was terrifying. But you can't move, you know, and whatever it is just going to kill you because you can't move. You feel like you're not even breathing. So after I did that little bit of research, it helped me because I was getting to where I didn't even want to go to sleep. I was going to go see a specialist and all that because it was affecting me bad. But once I realized that it's just your body is automatically paralyzed when you're in REM sleep. It says that's what my research showed. But they also showed that, you know, if you Google it, that it'll I know Estevan, exactly. But if you Google it, it says back in the 1800s, back whenever. Where'd Roland go? He ran away again. They believe that it was literally a demon on your chest and sucking the life out of you, and that's what they believe.
There's a definition of a nightmare. I don't remember what country it is, but like a nightmare, it's like a troll or like a gremlin that rides your chest while you're sleeping.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it's also, it's basically night, from what I heard, it's the same as night terrors. Mm-hmm. If you have a kid, let's see, what does Chandler say? Sleep paralysis always feels like someone or something is pushing you down on your chest. I know, it's the weirdest thing ever. I mean, when it happened to me when I was a kid, I'll never forget it. I was so terrified. I thought, what the heck? And I don't know if it's something that just happens to a lot of people. I mean, because I've heard of a lot of people now.
But you don't have them much anymore.
No, I haven't. Thank God. I do not. That's something I don't wish on anyone. It is terrifying. It really is, Chandler, isn't it? It really is, because you can't even move a finger. And I remember you can't even make a noise like help or
There's a
nothing.
movie that I watched with my friend. I tagged her in the comments to see if maybe she'll get on, and I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was about sleep paralysis and about a lady that actually, she marks you. If you see her, she marks you, and towards the end, like if you see her a certain amount of times, like there's different steps, and people that have seen her, they go to meetings, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like one of the scariest things I've seen. You could tell it's a movie, but the storyline behind it is insane, because it even involves history. Like there's stuff that has happened. It's a good movie, but I'm trying to remember the name.
I haven't watched scary movies in forever. Honestly, hard to believe, but I can't, because I will have nightmares. And Chandler, it's absolutely terrifying. It really is. Sarah, have you ever had anything like that at all? Because I'm hearing more and more people.
Mara, yes. Bree's on. Hi, Bree. Okay. Love you, babe.
Hi, Bree. How are you, sweetie? I don't know. It affects a lot of people. I'm hearing more and more people that are being affected by that. And like I said, after I did the research, and my brother said to say the Lord's Prayer literally to myself, say it over and over. And he said, because if it is, my brother believed that it was an evil spirit. He did. And he's all into this stuff. And he said, if it is, if you say the Lord's Prayer, if you say anything in the Lord's Prayer in Jesus' name to protect you, then he'll send a white light around you to protect you. And so after I did that a couple of times with a couple of episodes, I haven't had one yet since. So I don't know. It's pretty weird. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me see. So you have it too, Bree. Really? Wow. Can I consider you my reading because you have a great horse?
Is that spam?
I don't know. So. Who is Golden's?
I think so.
Can I consider you my reading? Oh.
It's just.
Can I consider? Sarah, I'm not sure who that is responding. Golden Son. I don't know. Miss Sarah, are you there?
Oh, she just texted me. Hold on. Sarah just texted me. She said, sorry, I couldn't finish watching your show. I don't want to be scared before bed.
Yeah, I know, Sarah. I know. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, whose idea was this to do this so late?
It's okay. We'll watch cartoons after.
Sorry, Sarah. Well, it's interesting because, yes, lucid dreaming, Bree. That is it. Because a lot of people, you're right on that, now that I think about it. A lot of people that experience sleep paralysis also experience lucid dreams.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, and lucid dreams is when you can actually stop and control your dreams. Now,
that is probably the most freeing I've ever felt when I have been lucid in my dreams, especially when I tell myself this is a dream, and then I'll be like, and then whatever I think, whatever I want happens. It's the best, most freeing thing in the world.
Yeah, so maybe that's the secret, Bree. You said you can't get scared because you make yourself lucid dream. So I had sent Crystal. Did she see it?
She's trying to get on there.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Her browser's not supported.
Oh, you need Google Chrome, I think.
Google Chrome won't work because it says you need to use Safari. Safari says it doesn't
work. Oh, come on. Dang it. People are having trouble getting on.
Danged if you do.
Danged if you don't. So we're talking about lucid dreaming right now, about the sleep paralysis. It's really a scary thing. And obviously it happens to a lot more people. So I wonder, a lot of people probably go to do these sleep studies, and because they're having that, I'm sure, because it's horrifying. It's like horrifying. You've had it too.
Yeah, I've had it. My dad's had it. He's had it all his life.
Yeah, and what does he ever get help for it or anything?
There's nothing he can do for him.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do.
Use a sleep apnea machine.
Oh yeah, so it's like you're not
breathing.
It's like you're not breathing, because I know when I've had it, every time I've had it, it feels like I'm actually not breathing.
Like you're suffocating, yeah.
Yeah, like you can actually, like I remember laying there thinking, well, I'm dead. Honestly, you know,
that
like
wasn't in Japan. That you already said that the Japan,
Yeah.
the demon sits on your chest.
Yeah.
That's that.
yeah, that's what they believe.
Yeah, the
because they
nightmares,
believe that
yeah.
the demon is sucking the air out of you.
Yeah.
So God, that's that's terrible considering what everyone's dealing with right now with this COVID. That's terrible. I never even thought of that. A lot of people do it unintentionally. They say those who do are closer to the spirit world.
Yeah.
You know what? That could be, Bree. It sure could be. Maybe so.
Ooh, I would love to get Bree on here because she's got so much insight on stuff like this.
Well, Bree, you're welcome to join us if you can get it to work. I'll send you a link if you'd like me to, or have Liliana.
If you want to go live, yeah.
I would say mine are always unintentional. Yeah, mine have never been intentional, Chandler.
Yeah, but there are certain people, like you said,
Yeah.
that are actually more attuned to the spiritual
Yes.
world, who can actually figure out how to get their body to do certain things like this.
Well,
And
just
it-
like my brother believes also in astral travel and all that,
yeah,
because they
Astral
say it's
projection,
basically
yeah.
the same thing. It's basically the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You're there, your body is there, but your
I have
conscious
had-
is not with your subconscious.
There's
physical.
actually
Maybe that's it.
Stephen King wrote a story about that.
Yeah.
Too. But yeah,
When dreaming, yeah, I have had an experience where I have seen myself, or I've like woken up and I've seen myself still sleeping, and I just walk around. Like I have walked around Beeville at night,
Yeah.
but knowing that my body is still in my bed. Like
Yeah,
that
it's
has
called-
actually happened.
yeah, that's
It's
astral
crazy.
projection.
It is crazy. It's insane. The crazy part, I think what scared me and what made me come back is that I was running into other people that were there, and they were interacting with me at this, like they were like, hey, how are you? Or like, how are you enjoying it? Or what are you doing? Or I would just see people like, and they would look at me like they could see me. It's weird.
Well, maybe that's because maybe when you're in that state, maybe you literally do cross through the veil, as they call it.
Well, you also have to be really careful while
What
experimenting.
if you
with
get
stuff
stuck?
Like this.
I would never try
and
it.
that's what I'm about to bring up. Because you have your body and you have your spirit. Your spirit comes out of your body. Your spirit is actually tethered to your body.
Yeah.
If that tether happens to be cut, broke, whatever, you cannot get back to your body,
Yes.
and you can't get stuck in that world.
So like in a coma, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, you're stuck in a coma, and
That's terrifying. And Chandler, I agree with you. I feel an unfriendly presence. I don't want to try to do it on purpose. I've read a little bit of it, but it is too scary. I'd be afraid I did it wrong and never come back.
It's all about practice, doing your research, finding it, and that goes back to the whole thing when my dad said, "Don't ever mess with something that you
Yes.
don't know about."
I agree.
Always do your research. Try to figure out if you want to do something like this. Okay, how do you pursue it? There are plenty of books on astral projection. There's plenty of books on any of this. You can find books, and a lot of it's theory based. It's not scientifically
Right.
factual.
Because I don't think they have any way to prove any of it.
Well,
Just
no.
like they can't prove.
Well, they don't want to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get me conspiracy theories. now.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, because anything that happens that doesn't make sense to scientists, they try to immediately come up with a scientific explanation as to why it's happening. But it's not a proven scientific explanation. It just makes more sense to them. Whereas you have believers that actually believe stuff, they, like me, I believe in ghosts. I have seen ghosts. I know ghosts are there. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't smoking anything funny.
Right.
And I know it's there. Why it's there, I don't know.
Don't know.
How do you interact with it? I mean, there's other people who are more into the spiritual world who knows how to interact with beings like this. It's crazy. And then now you're going in the complete opposite direction of this is talking about like Bigfoot, Lechusa, all the myths that they have about these things.
There's so many.
And then you have haunted dolls. I mean, the dolls that get up and walk around. I mean, Annabelle.
Ooh.
Look at Annabelle. And, it's based on a true story about this doll. I mean.
And ironically, it was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, it was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Insane.
I didn't know that until I saw the movie. And not the movie, what was it? It was like a history, something about the doll. It was a Raggedy. I was like, what? Nothing like the movie.
They have a museum where they have all of these objects that are possessed literally on display.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, excuse me, Lily, did you can you forward Chandler's message to Bree so she can see it?
Yeah, I'm sending it to her
So
now.
Bree said, "I will say, the more you seek it, the less terrifying it is.
Yes,
The more
it's
shadow
true.
people you see, you start to understand more." I sound like a psycho, but yeah, LOL, it's
No,
real.
it's true because like you jumped and you got scared or whatever.
Yes.
I didn't jump at all.
Yeah.
I used to not be able to walk around my house at night because I have that sensation.
Yes.
My house that I'm in now, of course, I don't sense anything. I'm not saying I'm a psychic or anything, but I mean, I
think we all
walk
get
into
vibes.
a house and I get vibes. I get vibes
Yeah.
from people. I get vibes from things. It's just how to read your environment.
Yes.
My house,
The
I can
air
walk
feels
around in the
thicker.
dark and that's fine. I just walk in the dark over here in your house.
Yeah.
You
You
it's
weren't even
perfectly
afraid.
fine. I wasn't
Wow.
afraid of it at all. But there are certain houses, even in the daytime, I walk in and I'm like, whoa.
You get a feeling right
I'm
away.
just
I'm the
whoa.
same way.
There was this house that my daughter and her ex-wife was basically looking at to buy. Well, I went in the house and I swear it was like a fun house.
Oh.
Everyone else told me that, oh yeah, what are you talking about? I'm like, I felt like I was just like running into walls and I'm like, there is just something off about this house.
Wow.
And it's a pink house right over here on the.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 2-story pink house.
Yes.
Man, I walked in that place. I swear I felt like I was in a fun house.
Oh, that's
I was
weird.
bouncing off walls. I was like, I was feeling nauseous.
That's weird.
When I got out of the
Wow.
house,
Wow.
thank
Well,
God I'm out of here.
Yeah, no kidding. It feels like it takes your breath away.
Yeah, it does.
Well, first of
The
all, I
air
want to take a
feels
moment.
very heavy for sure.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
it changes the feeling of the air. I want to thank all of our viewers that are on here right now. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have an experience you'd like to share, please type it in the comments, or you can go on Carolyn's Corner Messenger. If you know Liliana, you can message her privately. Or if you want to come on the screen with us, let us know if it's something you'd like to share. So I want to take a moment to tell about the last thing that happened here, because I mentioned it to Liliana, but I didn't go into detail yet. So this just happened, maybe a month ago?
I didn't hear about this one.
I thought I told you.
You probably
Oh.
did. I've slept since then.
Paul.
Okay, so that was funny. So my friend Tiffany, who also helps me with a radio show, was over here, and I had just arranged everything in here somewhat. It's still a mess, trying to get this room ready. So we had to rearrange everything. I moved the table, moved the desk, just did a lot of moving around. I moved the chairs and everything. So this room was, first of all, let me start by saying that this house that we are in was built by my husband's dad. And his dad passed away when my husband was 18. My husband is 60 something now. So he's been gone a long time. Of course, his mom and dad lived here, his sisters, the whole family. And his mom passed away several years ago as well. Well, we decided, instead of letting the house just go to ruin, that we would move in and try to at least keep it livable, because it was just going to ruin. Nobody was living here. We did have his daughter living here for a while, but she did not stay very long because she experienced some things in the house. Of course, I didn't find this out till after I was already out of there. All right, Crystal's here. I'm going to go ahead and bring Crystal on. I'm going to keep talking about my story. Hopefully she can hear us. Crystal, can you hear us and see us? Can you hear us?
Okay,
Can you hear us?
hold on just a second.
Okay. So, okay, we can hear you,
I
Crystal.
can hear you.
Okay, good. It's funny, she's in the other room. So, Crystal, if you see anything weird in there, let me know. So, we were here in my mom's room, which this room that I'm doing the podcast out of right now was my mom's room. And I was just sitting right here in the chair, right over there next to Paul. And Tiffany was standing right over there. You can't see the room, but it's an average size room. It's kind of small, I guess. And we were talking and talking. We were talking about family, and she got on the subject. What happened? We lost her. She was there, and now she's gone. Oh, okay.
I'm
Oh,
here.
you're upside down. We got on the subject of family. Now you're upside down, Crystal.
Oh no.
Whatever you did, flip it back around. We got on the subject of family, and she was talking about, her relationships with certain family members, and not all of it was positive. A little bit of it was turned into a little bit of negativity. You know how we talk. Sometimes it's nice just to talk to people and get things out, because we don't get a chance to talk to a lot of people. Anyway, and in this room right here that we're in now, we had the ceiling fan on, and I had turned off the AC, which is a window unit, because she was right in front of it and she was getting cold. So we turned that off right in the beginning. I hate that little tweak thing. And we were just talking away, and it was pretty late already. You're going to bed, Esteban? Well, wait, let me finish my story. You're going to want to hear it.
Just wait till the story's over. Wait till the story's over.
Yeah, thank you, Esteban. Wait. So, all of a sudden we're standing here talking. I'm sitting, she's standing because I got jacked up feet. All of a sudden we both hear something, and it sounded like a big giant, like fan, like a fan going backwards. It's the only way I can describe it. And when Baltimore said earlier about the tunnel, this is what I thought about, because it kind of sounded like we were in a time warp or something, because it was like this. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it just kept getting slower and slower and slower and slower. And I looked at Tiffany and she looked at me, and we both looked up at the fan thinking, this is all it was on. And it just kept thinking, and we heard it. We heard it with our own ears. And then as soon as we looked up at the fan, it got freezing cold in here. And I mean freezing. And we heard it. Temperature dropped. And we both felt it so strong that I literally unplugged everything and we ran out of the room. And I cannot describe that experience, that feeling. It was literally like so strong that I don't know how to describe it. Tiffany even said it felt like she left her house and she ran out of her car. That's how scared she was. It was we heard it and we felt it. And it felt so negative. And I was so scared I didn't come back in the room until I called my friend Jennifer, and she came over and did a cleanse on the room. And I'd never had anybody do that. And she told me that it was just my mom trying to communicate because there was unresolved issues. And my mom has just passed away in 2017, so she hasn't been gone that long. And I hope that we got to the bottom of it. She told me I need to talk to do the chair therapy where I talk to the empty chair. She said, because believe it or not, she's going to listen to you because she's right here. Anyway, so I know it doesn't sound scary, but if you were there, if you were here, you believe me, you would have been, because there was no other thing that would have made that noise. Nobody else was in the house, and it was loud, like, and it's like it sucked the air out of the room. I can't even describe it. It's the weirdest thing I've ever. It's like you felt it. And when she came over a few days later with her daughter, we walked back in the room for the first time because I had not been back here. I kept the door closed. You could still feel it in the room, like an energy. Literally, like, her daughter goes, wow. And I was like, I don't even want to be in here. And then after she did her sage thing and she did some cards, it felt better. The room honestly felt better. But I had never experienced anything like that. And I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, and I've never felt that feeling, You get a bad feeling. This was literally almost like a tunnel. Yeah, it was literally like you were going Yeah, it was scary. And I thought,
well, that's kind of like what Baltimore was saying earlier about the tunnel.
I know, exactly. That's why
it's crazy.
Whoa. Because I had never, like I said, I'd never experienced anything like that. Because it's for both of us to hear it, and I've watched a lot of, what happened to it? There you are. Watched a lot of ghost shows, you know what I mean? And I know you did ghost shows, but this was different. It was different. So she said whoever it was really having to work hard to manifest enough energy to make that happen, to where you could feel it and hear it like that. So whoever it was, they really wanted to get your attention. So she had a pendulum thing, what do you call it? And pendulum. And she was asking, because Brett's dad, of course, he passed away, his sister, his mom. And she asked who was here, and she was holding it straight. And when she said his dad, it moved a little bit. But when she said mom, it just started to move. So she goes, it's your mom. And I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? But I feel fine in here now. You feel fine here? Yeah. I don't feel anything.
I've never really had a bad experience.
Yeah, but you have to be here when they're happening, right? Because we've had plenty.
I know y'all have. I've heard stories.
Yeah.
Stuff falling off.
Yeah, we've had lights coming on and off, all that.
Yeah.
So, Crystal, since you just joined us and you're upright, do you have any stories you'd like to share? A little short story?
Well, when me and Paul just first got together, I woke up one night and I had scratches on my stomach and on my chest, and I was like, okay, maybe it was him, maybe, because, we just barely started sleeping in the same bed, and,
right.
Maybe he was just, I don't know, crazy. And so I would wake up, like, I think it was 4 or 5 nights in a row, I wake up with scratches all over my stomach and all over my chest, but they were like real thin, tiny little scratches. And I'm like, what the heck? So one night I'm laying in bed, and I'm a huge insomniac. So I'm laying in bed. He's already asleep. And of course, new relationship. So you're like, he's going to bed. I'm going to go to bed too. So I'm just laying there trying to go to sleep. And all of a sudden, I hear right in front of my face, "Can't sleep, can you?" And I'm like,
Oh, hell no.
What was that? And I'm like, I'm not going to wake him up. I'm not going to wake him up. I'm not going to wake him up.
You
And
heard
all of a sudden, I sit up in the bed, and I hear something get knocked down at the foot of the bed. Like somebody's running out of the room. I'm like, what in the world? So I'm like, babe, wake up. There's somebody in that room. There's somebody in here. And he's like, no, it's all right. It's probably just, it was probably just something, the old house, somebody fell, whatever. I'm like, okay. And I lay down. I finally go to sleep. And then the next thing I know, I'm waking up in the morning, and I have this huge scratch on my right cheek, my face. And I'm like, what the hell? Immediately, as soon as he sees it, he's like, get up, come here. He takes me into his oldest daughter's room, and she's 17 at the time. He takes me in there, and he's like, tell her, Jocelyn, tell her now, tell her. And I'm just standing there like, what in the world? And she's like, oh yeah, Dad has ghosts that follow him around everywhere. And I'm like, what? And I've dealt with ghosts, and I've dealt with stuff like that, but they've never actually, I guess, laid their hands on me.
Yeah, like Liliana was saying, same thing, yeah.
Well, years down the road, he decides to tell me, after this thing has been messing with me forever, he decides to tell me that he had bought a house, and this house was haunted with his second wife, I believe. So, third.
He has to use fingers.
It was a second. So he ends up going to sell the house. Well, the previous owner comes by and tells him that he locked all these neighborhood cats in the garage and basically poisoned them and killed them.
Oh, wow.
So this house was haunted by cats. So I'm like, wait a minute. I was waking up with all these scratches, right? Years before. And I started putting two and two together. I'm like, it's a damn cat that's following him around. The cat was scratching me every night.
Wow.
And I'm like, what in the world?
Haunt you, yeah.
So that was one. And then we get our second apartment together, and I'm taking a shower, and the shower curtain pushes in a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's probably the AC. So I stick my hand outside of the shower, and I'm like, okay, feeling around. I feel no breeze. I don't feel the AC. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, it's a ghost. I know it's a ghost. So I just push the shower curtain back out, and I'm just there. I'm washing off, and all of a sudden the shower curtain gets pushed back in. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I push it back out. And then it happens, I don't know, 3 or 4 more times. Each time it's a little bit further in, pushed in. Well, I push it back out, and I'm like trying to hurry up and wash the soap out of my hair so I can just get out of the shower. And all of a sudden, the shower curtain gets pushed almost completely to the wall. And I'm like,
girl,
okay,
hell no.
I'm out.
Oh,
so I'm trying to wash soap out of my hair with my eyeballs wide open. Like, this thing's not going to get me without me,
And that is, I feel like that's one of people's like biggest fears. Is like when you're like washing your hair, you're like picturing like, no.
Yes, I cannot, to this day, because of that, I cannot close my eyes in the shower at all.
I don't blame you.
So
no kidding.
I'm like, this thing, right? Well, Paul's downstairs the whole time. And it wasn't until later on when we go on a fire call, I tell him, I'm like, hey, so the ghost was messing with me in the shower.
There.
And he's like, what? Why didn't you tell me? You should have called me. I'm like, and let that sucker know that I'm scared. Like, no, not gonna do that.
Wow.
So
I would have just been like, get out of the bathroom right now.
yeah, so he had, I think, a jealous woman following him around and some cats.
A jealous woman and some
I had
cats.
a lot of.
Wow. Oh, yeah, and
That's
a cat.
good one,
He had a
Paul. Good
lot
one.
of,
Now we're gonna go back.
around.
I'm gonna go back and kind of hit on what she said about the house. Yes, I do believe it was a cat that scratched her, and the reason why is because we moved into this house. We had weird things happen. We would have with pressure on. Let's see, this one I was married to my second wife, and she would have pressure on her third wife. She was. I get him all confused.
He has to use his fingers, folks.
Yeah, so she would feel pressure, and then she would freak out. I mean, she would have, and this is what I'm talking about, the spiritual energy in the house and how it changes relationships and stuff. And she'd get pressure, and she said she'd feel something start at her feet and start walking up her legs.
That sounds like sleep paralysis. I don't even talk about that.
And then it felt like it was starting to walk up
like
her
the
legs,
cat that I
and then
used to
getting on
say.
the chest, and then
That's what it felt like.
And
a cat.
So she would feel this, and she
Please,
would
Lord, don't let me.
she would complain.
Who
about
was that
this.
that did a prayer?
We
a while
set
ago?
the camera up.
Arise in the name of Jesus.
And we actually had a camera set up, and a plastic lid moved across the room. We've had all this in this house, and we never understood it. And then we had 2 paranormal investigators come over and actually do the investigation. I actually set a camera up. And this is what made me think I should have got rid of my third wife earlier, or I should have married her, because that we set a camera up in this room, and I started listening to the audio feedback on the video camera, and you can plainly hear it. Get her out, Paul. It said my name, and it said, get her out, Paul. And I'm like, what in the heck? And I listened to it over and over, and it's clear as day. It says, get her out, Paul. And this goes back to the women following me, like women ghosts following me. I'm a hot guy. And so, yeah. So yeah, there's women ghost following me for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, so the previous owner of the house actually comes over, and that's what she was talking about, the cats that were in the garage. He was always complaining about the cats. So he took a bottle of radiant fluid, and
Speaking of cats, where's mine?
And so he had like a radiator fluid that he put inside of a dish. No, I'm sorry. Let's go back. He put cat food in a dish, attracted all the cats in the neighborhood into the garage. He trapped them in the garage, and took a hammer and killed every single one.
Oh my Lord!
And that explains why we were feeling all the pressure, and that's what feeling too. Like something's falling up your leg instead of your and it explains so much stuff. And
did he go to jail for that? He should have.
No. He actually came over to the house and said, hey, did anything weird happen in this house? He goes, not really. I said, yeah, one time I took about the cats out of the garage. He said, nonchalantly, I just took a hammer and just killed them all. I'm like, wow.
That is not a normal thing to do.
That is not. No.
And so after that happened, we moved out of the house, and someone bought the house. And of course, my third wife decided to leave a message saying all the bad stuff, stay in the house, don't follow us, stay here, whatever. Well, I went over there to talk to the new owners, and she said, I saw y'all's note that y'all left there for all the ghosts to stay here. And she goes, I wish you would have said it was haunted beforehand, because I would have paid more money for it. I'm like, God, shit.
Really?
Yeah, that's what she said. And
she wanted it to be haunted.
And then she said, it's funny, the experience that I'm having stuff getting knocked off on the shelves. She goes, the other day I was looking down and I felt something rub across my legs. I thought it was my cat. And my cat's not there. And I'm like, I got a funny story for you. And then I told her, because she didn't know about it.
Wow.
So then I told her what happened in the garage, and she goes, oh, that explains everything.
Wow.
Yeah, because she was telling me all these things that were happening to her that cats would do, get up in the cabinets, and then you know how they get up and then start knocking on the shelf?
Did it go away?
Yeah.
That is crazy. Well, let's give Liliana a chance now. Lily, I know you've been listening for a while. Do you have another story you'd like to tell us?
I have a few. I have one. So I used to visit my family in Mexico regularly. I remember this was an experience when I was pregnant with my youngest. With my youngest. He is 4 years old. What had happened with him was my grandma, she has like a large property in Mexico and it kind of goes uphill because it's on like mountains. And I was swinging in a hammock that she has, like literally everybody knows, anybody that's watching that knows has been to my grandma's house in Montaña, they know she has a hammock in between two trees. Well, it was dark. The party was already dead. Everybody was falling asleep literally on the floor, wherever. And I was like just laying in the hammock and I was on my phone. I don't know what happened, but I heard someone whisper my name from the tree. And I was like, I'm just hearing things. This isn't real, whatever, right? So then I start hearing whistling from the house next door, which the house next door is known for being haunted, for like people have had a lot of experiences, like paranormal experiences in that house. And I heard whistling come from the house, and the house was empty at the time. Wow. So I was like, that is weird. As soon as that happened, I get a text message from my aunt in Mexico. I get a text message from my aunt in Mexico, and she's pretty much saying, if you're outside, go inside now because something is following you. And I'm like, this girl, okay, my aunt lives in Mexico, but she lives in Monterrey in Nuevo León, which is a different state, two completely different states in Mexico. The one that I was in San Luis. She was in Nuevo León. So 2 different cities, 2 different states. This just happened where I'm hearing things and it's like midnight. She sends me a text saying, if you are outside, go inside because something is following you. And if you stay outside, you can get hurt. And I was like, girl, say no more. I went inside. Well, I went to go lay down in the room where my grandfather passed away. So I'm laying down, and the way that the windows are set up, it's like a concrete house, and it's got bars. They're like iron bars on all of the windows. And I hear someone whisper my name. It was one of my friends in Mexico. He whispers my name through the window like, hey, come outside. And I'm like, oh, it's just my friend. Let me go outside. I go outside, and there's no one there. Oh. I was like, nope, I'm coming back inside. And I was having a conversation like, yeah, just give me a minute. He's like, well, I'll wait for you right here by the door. Like, I'm telling you, it was an actual conversation that I had with him. Whoa. And when I go out, there's no one there, and I hear footsteps on the roof. I was like, nope, going inside, not going back out. And my aunt had texted me, and she's like, you need to stay in and go to sleep. Like, don't do anything, just stay inside. But I don't know how she would even know this information being in a different state. Yeah. So I was like, and this is my mom, like she's my mom's sister, and I was at my dad's family's house. So 2 different families. There was no way she could have known. Wow. That was insane to me. That crazy. Mind-blowing to me. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that really is. She has that intuition, that sixth sense or psychic abilities, or whatever you want to call it. Or she's that in tune with you, that she knew that you were in. Well, this is my aunt. She likes to practice stuff like this, and she does a lot of research, and she herself has personal experience with things like that as well. So she has always told me that I was her favorite niece. I'm just gonna throw that out there for the rest of my cousins, but it was just crazy to me. Like I just thought the timing was. It just did not feel like a coincidence. It did not feel like a coincidence.
I'm sure it wasn't a coincidence. I'm sure she felt something.
That's weird, isn't it?
Did she know you like from birth?
Yeah.
Like, were y'all like really close?
Well, every time I would see her, I think I'm the niece. I think because we're like the only family. Me and my brothers are the only nieces and nephews that they have that don't live in Mexico. She bonded with us the most, but I was the most attached to her, to where my mom has told me like God switched our daughters because her daughter is more like my mom and I'm more like her. Like I bond more with her daughter bonds more with my mom.
Yeah. Wow. Basically you have that connection. that
Yeah.
spiritual connection where she can actually find, she knows
Yeah.
what's happening in your life.
Wow.
Anything bad that happens to you, she'll probably be the first one to know.
Yeah,
Oh, without a doubt.
That's crazy, especially when she
Oh,
sensed
and
that.
Yeah.
look who came to visit.
Is it Roland? I hope or the
No,
cat. I thought it was Roland.
he's back.
Her black cat. She had to have
His
the black
name's
cat to add
Ozzy.
to the ambiance of the evening.
I
I
know.
hope everybody's doing okay out there, folks. Let me see who's messaged. Love talking with you all, Carolyn, Paul, Lily.
We gotta get
I'm
you
going
on
to head
a
out.
live one
We
day,
definitely need to
Chandler.
do this again. Yes, Chandler. Yes. Do what, Lily? What were you saying?
I said we gotta get Chandler on a live one of these days.
Yes, absolutely, Chandler. Maybe next Wednesday we may do the same thing at 7:30. I don't think we have anything else.
Yeah, but it's funny because we're talking about the book. I'm actually seriously thinking about doing this.
Yeah, you really should.
Chandler has some really good stories. Liliana has some good stories. Crystal, me,
And you could just make it anonymous, if you wanted to.
I mean,
you
you
could
can make it
true
anonymous,
story.
or basically you say based on a true story, and then you can we can manipulate the story a little bit. They do it all the time. I mean, based on a true story. I mean, look at
Oh yeah, like The Conjuring and all those. Yeah.
But we can all come up with stories and throw into.
Oh yeah, just like the Reader's Digest that I always joke about. That all of their stories, and they weren't scary, but I'm just saying they would take small stories from everyone and put it in their book.
Yeah, they pay them a little bit.
Yeah,
but of course we wouldn't get paid. It'd basically be a little compensation, I guess.
Yeah.
You kind of get a penny a piece.
Yeah, ooh, I mean,
but hey, but you know what? You get your based on a true life story.
And Chandler, by the way, and for all of you on here right now, we will be discussing the same topic on Monday night on Carolyn's Corner, Dolly 107.1, the radio show. We're going to be live going on the air at 7:30. I had to stop and think. Is that right? Oh my God, yeah, 7:30.
7:30.
We're going to be having another paranormal discussion. I don't know if we're going to run out of topics by then. Probably not. We all have so many things that have happened to us.
I have tons more
throughout our lives.
Well, if you got cats and jealous women following you, I can imagine you have plenty of stories, Paul.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
I still got the Lechusa.
You haven't even told that.
I haven't
told I think save that one for Monday.
I'm saving
that one for Monday, and I'm saving a lot of mine for Monday.
I have a story about the Lechusa too.
Oh my gosh. You gonna save it for Monday?
Let me just quickly, because I don't want to talk about this too much, but my last husband, whenever I would go visit his parents' house, I noticed that there was always an owl. An owl would always land. Like if I was there, his dad was there. Even when he was there, I remember one time I was already in bed in like the guest bedroom. I was already in bed and I was like, hey, like, are you gonna come to bed? And he's like, just give me a second. I'm just like outside. His brother was sick, so he was going through a lot. So he was outside, just like, going through everything.
Hold on.
And
hold
I
on,
hear
Lily, hold on just a minute. Hold that thought. Esteban, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Chandler,
you.
thank you so much for joining us. Who do we have left? Thank you guys so much. We're looking forward for y'all tuning in. Sorry, Lily. Tune in on Monday night, the same channel. We'll be right here on Facebook Live, okay? And we'll also be on Dolly 107.1. We'd love for y'all to tune in on Carolyn's Corner. Please do. It'll be posted on my Facebook page. Thank you so much for tuning in.
I'll share it too.
Yes, please do. Go ahead, Liliana.
And share this out. Like if
share it.
If you're on YouTube, share it out. Let other people get involved in this.
Like, comment, share.
Yes, please. Like, comment, share.
Here we go again.
I know. We need that. We need to build our audience. And usually we're talking about funny things and making people laugh. And I love that. It's one of my favorite things to do in life. But sometimes we get serious. And so this is a really cool topic, I think. On this show, the After Hours show, we try to keep it a little more serious about serious topics, but that doesn't mean it always has to be. So normally we're here every Wednesday night. We haven't done the last 2 Wednesdays because I didn't have any content, believe it or not. So join us on Monday, okay, guys? Thank you so much. Monday night at 7:30. And in the meantime, sleep well and positive energy to you too, Esteban. Yes.
Yes.
That's all in the
Good night,
past. Nothing
guys.
bad's going to happen. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Liliana.
Well, where was I? I was in bed and I was texting him like, hey, are you going to come to bed? He's like, no, I'm outside on the porch just like thinking I'll be in there in a minute. And then I hear something heavy just land. And I'm like, what is going on? And I can hear wings. So I was like,
same thing.
I was like, what in the world? And he literally texted me. He's like, did you hear that? I was like, yeah, what is that? And it hurt. It almost sounded like someone was talking. And he was like, I had a owl
You're
literally
scared,
just
Paul. You're
land.
freaking Paul out.
Scared me. It's weird how our stories align.
I know. That is weird. Okay, go ahead, Lily.
Yeah, but he was like okay. Let's say kind of like where you guys are sitting right now, where the door is, like literally the edge of the door, that's where the owl landed at. That's how close the owl got to him.
Wow.
And he was like, and he told me, he's like, they follow me around everywhere for some reason. And I was like, nope. And I told him, like, come inside now. Like, don't leave it alone. Don't like poke at it. Don't just leave it alone. And he was like, no, like, it's just hanging out. I'm like, dude, why? I'm like, look, I'm going to bed. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I have heard an owl land literally right in front of the window where we would sleep. It was so weird.
Wow.
So weird.
Oh, that's, yeah.
There's
There's so many unexplained things out there. Who's to say that it's not true?
Yeah, you won't catch me outside after midnight.
No, I know. And I've told Paul this. He may not believe us, but we have an owl that hangs out here. And every other night or a few nights, every so often we'll hear it hooing. And I'm like, oh God, the owl's back. But when my grandson was here, we were trying to find it when y'all were here that night. Didn't hear anything. But when we don't look for it, we hear it, so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's pretty weird. Well, Paul, do you have one more story? It's getting late already. Liliana, it's 10:15. Paul, do you have another story you want to share tonight, or you want to wait?
I think I'll wait.
I have one more that involves Roland, actually.
Okay.
I remember one time I was at Roland's house and I was making a joke and I was like, dude, because he's like, what are you, a witch? And I was like, ironically, every time I go somewhere, I have a lot of black cats follow me. Like, black cats show up out of nowhere. Ironically, now I own one.
Yeah,
but
that is.
he literally, I was just saying this, and he walked outside of his door, and there was six or seven black cats on his front yard, like just hanging out. And he's like, dude, get out of my fucking house. I mean, sorry, excuse the language, but he's like, get out of my house. He's like, get out of my house. I was like, what? And he's like, go outside right now. Literally, go outside and go home. There was black cats on his yard right after I told him that. I was like, I don't know why that happens, but it was funny. He got so
weird at the. Oh, that would have scared
freaked
the
him
crap
out. It
out of
was
me
funny.
too.
It was
Oh
funny,
my God.
without a doubt.
Go ahead.
But before we end this, I'm going to say I like your setup there, Liliana.
Yeah, it does look nice, doesn't it?
Yes, I like the microphone that kind of just comes to your bed over there. I mean, look at that.
Well, it swivels, so
yeah, I know that's awesome.
I love it.
So
I had to move my setup a little bit closer so I could relax.
Setup, she said.
Oh, you have the whole setup where you can sing in bed and just record yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I do. Oh my gosh, I get made fun of for saying yeah like that.
Yeah.
She's bougie. Remember that.
I know.
I am bougie. See, now you guys can see.
I
This
love
literally
it. All
stays
you're
up
You're
year
gonna
round.
give my wife. You're gonna give my wife ideas. She's like, hey.
I want some of that above our bed.
Can we have a setup like this on our bed? I want my microphone to swivel. And look, her mouth.
Yes.
It's because I can see myself now.
Yeah, I know. I see you now. Oh my God.
Yes.
So, Crystal, I brought you back on. You came on just in time. We're about to end it for the night. I hope everybody that's been here has had a good time. Hopefully it was an interesting topic for you guys. Remember, we're going to be back on Valley 107.1 and right here on Facebook Live again on Monday night at 7:30. So feel free to, we'd love for you to come and join us, and we'd love for you to interact just like y'all did tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who interacted. Roland, I don't know what happened, but next time I'd like to try to get you back on. I don't know what happened to Roland. Next time you can have him go to your house or he'll come over here. Yes, he's technologically deficient like I am. No, he's probably way more technologically advanced than I am. I'm terrible about it. I really appreciate everybody that's been on here tonight. I was saying we were going to go later, but we got to save some of our stories for Monday. And Monday, and then who knows, probably the next Wednesday. So let's just hope that we don't get any more encounters in between now and Monday, because I'm not ready to be scared again. What about y'all?
Scared.
I am definitely watching cartoons before I go to bed.
Yeah, you know what? If anything scary happens, I always have to watch something funny before I go to bed.
It's not midnight yet, so I'm not.
No,
scared.
it's not. It's not midnight. That's why. That's one of the reasons I want to get off a little earlier, because I'm like, if we could sit here till midnight, but we'll run out of
You're
stories.
getting me a price setter up all night.
Yeah, we could, because all of us, we've done that. We have set up, right, Crystal? We have set up till daylight.
Ever got a TikTok account?
Yeah.
and actually got over 1,000 followers. You can go live on there as well.
Oh my gosh.
And this is what people do.
Yeah, they sit there and just talk on that. I love it.
Sometimes it just
Next
doesn't
time, Bree, you can join in on the live too.
Yes, Bree, absolutely. Next time y'all have anything spooky or spiritual related, count me in getting off to watch my show. Okay, Bree, yes. And we're going to be talking about the same type of subject Monday night, okay? Monday night and Wednesday. So right here, back on Facebook, Monday night. All right, Bree, we're looking forward to having you join us. And make sure you interact with us. You won't be able to come on Monday. I don't think we don't have room. Maybe Facebook Live. We'll figure that out.
Even if
you
she
never
can't
know.
do, even if she can't do the radio on Monday, she can always do it next Wednesday as well.
Yes.
That, you know,
Yes, absolutely. If not, we'll remind me.
I will.
I'll be here.
Sure.
Yes, remind her and remind me to send you a link to send to Bree, okay?
Yes, for sure.
It's going to be the same link. The one I send to you, you can just forward it on to her, okay?
Yeah.
You know, and this is awesome because we also get to meet like-minded people.
I know, it's so
Like,
cool.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and Bree actually lives in Lake Jackson, so we got people
that's
from
cool.
everywhere. Yeah.
Like Liliana, she's all into that stuff too. Like she was like, I want to talk about
I
all
know,
this stuff. I'm
I
like,
know.
you know, because Crystal knows I'll sit there and I will have a conversation about aliens, ancient technology. I mean, ghosts, witches, warlocks. God, I'm down because I will sit there and I will talk all night long about it and give you all my theories.
I know. It's really interesting. That's how my family is. We used to set up all till daylight, right? And the few times we've been hanging out together late at night, we'd stay up till daylight with Crystal. Always.
We have a monarch butterfly story as well.
Yes, we do. Do we want to tell that now
Monday,
or wait?
Monday,
Let's wait until on
Monday.
Monday or Wednesday, okay? Because that was a really cool story. It was a really cool story. And we were all there. We all saw it. So it's not like we imagined it. You know what I mean? It wasn't just me. Whenever it's just me, I always think maybe I was seeing things.
That was the same night we wrote our song.
Yes, it is. Best song ever written. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for. Let me see who else messaged. I love everything mythical and conspiracy. Yes, we do too, Bree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
There's
so happy
no
we didn't
delay
get knocked off the air tonight.
Heck, I mean, this opened a huge door for everything.
Yeah, it really could.
She said mythical and conspiracy. You can have a mythical day. You can
Yes.
have a conspiracy day. talking about
Absolutely.
different
Oh, we could go on forever.
Oh, I know.
I know.
Conspiracies? I'm telling you right now, if you do a show on conspiracy, it's gonna be like a 10-part episode.
Yeah, but then I don't know if it's a good idea to bring up that because then you have all these different sides, and then it's going to cause division, and you don't want. We really don't want. Yes, oh yes. We don't want no division. That's one thing I'm trying to stay away from.
Oh,
'cause they
no.
will. Anytime you talk about it, depends on what the conspiracy.
Well,
is.
that's what I'm saying. You put like JFK, the JFK.
Yeah.
conspiracy.
Now
I
that's
mean,
pretty.
we don't talk COVID conspiracy.
Yeah,
because
stuff like that.
That,
Anything current. Yeah.
that can be division.
Yeah,
People
anything
really
current.
get upset about certain
Yeah,
things,
absolutely.
which is understandable.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah. That's the only thing I.
We
said
are
from the
here to
beginning.
unite, not divide.
Yes, unite. Well, guys, thank you so much, Lily. Thank you so much, honey.
Yeah, no
And I will
problem.
talk to you soon. And if not, I'll see you on Monday. We're gonna have Lalo, you and Lily will be at the radio station on Monday.
Okay.
Because we're gonna be talking about more stories.
Okay, I'm gonna be a little late.
Yeah.
Because my son bolts on
Okay.
Monday. So I'm gonna go watch them bolt,
Of course.
and then after that,
Okay.
I'll
Okay. Well, Lalo's gonna be on there too. We'll figure it out. We'll just take turns. That's perfect. Because Lily, you can be on there first, and then Paul can come in when he gets off. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
That works. Bye.
Okay, guys. We love y'all. Have a
Good
great night. Everybody,
night.
sit inside. Don't get scared. Watch some cartoons.
Say bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye, Kitty Cat. Bye, Lily. I'll be back out. Peace. Okay, I'm ending the stream. Bye, guys. Thank